Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Chopping It Up with A60. I'll be your host, A60. We have a very, very special guest going on tonight. He is a Brooklyn Hall of Famer, and I cannot wait to get to these stories that I have heard. This man, we have had a great conversation over the past few days, just talking about sports in itself, the game of softball, baseball, basketball, even umpiring, players he's played with. And I am really looking forward to having this conversation with this brother. Like I said, he is a Hall of Famer, and you guys are going to get an opportunity to ask him questions as well. I'm already going to be asking him questions, but I would like everybody else, if they want to ask some questions, and if we can get to it, we will get to it. So stay in for that. I want to make some announcements. One, as I posted, it is official. We will be having the A60 Kingston Park reunion game July the 10th. And I am so looking forward to that. So we will be having that game going on. We will have the jersey party that Friday, the 9th. We will definitely be having the haircuts, free haircuts for the kids on Thursday to give back to the community. I want to give a shout out to my guy Munch for making that all happen, that permit. I really appreciate you, Munch, for giving me that. Not giving it to me, but putting in the word. I want to give a shout out to Renee for putting in that paperwork, actually putting it together. I want to give a shout out to my guy Pop for putting out that first flyer. We got more stuff to do. I also want to give a shout out to all my friends and family that had a part in me getting to where I am today, because what we're about to do, and it starts with this softball reunion, this is going to be an annual event. And I want everybody to come out. I just want to be clear on a couple of things. I know on the last flyer it said vendors, and I want you guys to understand no vendors can be out there in the park or affiliated with what we're doing. I want everybody to bring their own grills, coolers, do your own thing, but make sure you clean up after yourselves, and we'll talk about that further on. But if you're trying to be a vendor out there, you cannot be a vendor. But we will have music. I will have, a couple of people doing things out there. More importantly, we're going to be out there. We're going to have some fun. Phoenix Apparel is sponsoring the uniforms that we got going on out there. I will start accepting donations come in June. Anybody who want to help, donate, and I'll tell everybody we're doing a raffle at the jersey party, at the park, at the game. I will be donating some money to a charity or the police department, PAL, whatever suit fits. So I will be asking for donations pretty soon when it comes to that. So yeah, that event, that's huge for me, because I spoke it into existence. I said what I wanted to do around a year ago when I first started doing this. And I said the one thing I want to do is I wanted to do a game. I wanted to do a reunion. I wanted to just get everybody in the park and just have fun for the day. I'm not going to be out there just walking around. I am going to try to get a couple of interviews in, but more importantly, I'm going to be out there having fun. I am going to be in a home run derby. Yeah, I can still hit. I'm going to be in that. I am going to be playing in the games because I want to have fun too. I want to have fun too. I want to enjoy. That's why I'm on this diet, Beyond Meat diet now. I'm trying my best to get in shape. So I'm trying to get ready for July, but not just for July. I'm trying to get ready for life itself. I'm trying to eat better, trying to take care of myself, trying to be here for my kids, my friends, my family, trying to be here for people that are important to me. And I can't be out there just continuously getting sick. I am a diabetic, so I'm trying my best to just eat right and be better for me, so I can be here for more than just a certain amount of times. We lost a lot of brothers early, lost a lot of sisters early, so I just want to make sure I'm taking care of myself. So I'm asking everybody, if you're not taking care of yourself, please try to take care of yourself. Stay healthy, stay safe. Shout out to Delroy. I see you out there on that bike, on the mission running. That's what I'm talking about, big dog. Keep running. I'm going to run with you. I'm just not going to be on the bike. I'd rather run in the outfield, but I'm not going to be on the bike. I ain't going to do all that. But I'll walk with you. So keep doing your thing, my brother. I salute you. So, like I said, if anybody else got anything that they want to talk, send their questions in. I need for everybody to subscribe. That's one. To my YouTube channel. It's Chopping It Up with A60. Please subscribe. Everything that we film on here does go to the YouTube channel. I want to get those followers up. So please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Chopping It Up with A60. I would appreciate that. Also, for those of you that are on here, please share the feed. If you're on Facebook, share it. Instagram, share it. Like it. I need as many shares as possible. This is going to be a great interview, just like many others I've had on here. But this is going to be good too. We might be going over the mark a little bit tonight. We might be doing three plus hours tonight. So be ready for that. So get your popcorn. I want y'all to make sure y'all get your drinks together, whatever you need to do, because we're going in today. I'm excited about it. I'm excited about all my interviews because I love history and I love the game that I played out there in Kingston, St. John's, tournaments, wherever I played. I just love the game and I love what it did for me. It built relationships that I would have never had if I didn't go out there and play in those parks or play with those guys. I have great camaraderie with a lot of my brothers to this day. Shout out to Al Watson, that's big bro all day. Shout out to Chuck, big bro all day. I got a lot of brothers out there, man. I just love all of you guys. And I appreciate all you guys. You guys helped me get through school. A lot of people don't know that. I was in school and traveling back home on the weekends just to play softball. It was crazy, so, but I'm here and I just can't wait to get this thing started, get this party started. I ain't gonna do too much talking because we're gonna get in. He's sitting in the room, he got his cup of coffee or he's drinking. I don't know what he's drinking over there. He's drinking something nice, sipping on something nice. But ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce to you. I know I'm gonna mess up his last name, but I'm gonna try my best not to. I want to introduce to you a Brooklyn legend, Brooklyn Hall of Famer. Probably one of the best pitchers that I've heard and have not seen in softball. Y'all know me. I like to hit against these guys that said was really good. I heard his changeup was unbelievable. I don't believe that. I think I can still hit him, but you never know. Maybe I can get him out of retirement. But without that being said, this man is a legend. If you don't know who he is, you're going to find out today. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you Jerry Angelero. Did I get it right?
You got it right, man. You got it right, Al. Perfect.
Jerry, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on. It's my privilege and honor to be on with you, man. I really appreciate this.
Man, I appreciate you. You deserve it. You've been in the game for so long. I just want to say thank you for doing what you've done for the game. I just wish I would have been able to see what you've done to the game. So I really appreciate you giving me your time and your voice and your vision. And I really appreciate you. And like I said, you deserve your flowers. And my platform is your platform. And anytime you want to do something, you deserve it, man. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Al. And the same here. Same love for you, man. Anytime you need me for anything, I'm here for you and for anybody and for any ball players, any umpires that want to umpire, any pitchers that want to learn the game. I'm here.
That's what's up, man. So let's get into it. You know, what was the first sport you played?
I played baseball. I played baseball, and then I played basketball. I was born and raised in Coney Island. Shout out to my Coney Island. You know, I love my Coney Island. One of my nicknames is Coney Island Jerry. That's how the old timers know me when I pitch, was Coney Island Jerry. So I started, I was a young kid and I started playing baseball, and I was talented. My father played baseball. He got to look and see from the Dodgers. And I always went to the park with him and watched him. From 3 years old, I was always throwing the ball. And I played basketball. I was a good basketball player also. Many people don't know that about me, but I was an athlete. And I played football. I played two-hand touch in the schoolyard, just like all of us started. We played in the schoolyards, and that's where I learned how to play these games and, hone my skills.
Okay. Where you from, actually?
Well, I was born born and raised in Coney Island. I'm Puerto Rican.
Okay.
Okay, I'm Puerto Rican, but born and raised in Coney Island. And I know a lot of people hear about Coney Island. They're always thinking about the basketball players, the Stephon Marburys, the Lance Stevenson, Sebastian Telefar. I go back even further. Spoon, which was Stephon's brother, Eric Marbury. Yeah, I coached them. I coached them in basketball. I did basketball. I ran basketball leagues in Coney Island also. When I was 16 years old, I was running kids league and men's league and having teams coming all over to come to Coney Island to play basketball. So, I've done a little bit of everything.
That's what's up. So now, from what I understand, you played baseball first?
I played baseball. I started off playing Little League Baseball. I played for the church, CYO. I played for A Lady of Solace. That was a church, and it's still there, West 19th Street and Mermaid Avenue. And I started off with a gentleman by the name of Louis DiMartino. And he was the guy that had this car, and and as we're going to talk later on, he was the Dave Goldstein of that era when I played baseball. He would put us all in his car, man. Take the whole team in the car and take us to the field to play our baseball games. And, I remember wearing those wool uniforms, man, those hot wool uniforms. That's what we used to use, and that's where I started, I started playing the game. I started playing the game, and then I moved on into to play with Gil Hodges Little League. But there's a story behind that. Okay. I was 10 years old when I was playing with A Lady of Solace, and I had this manager by the name of Dick Granigan. And, I was a good baseball player. I mean, I was good. I worked at the craft, and I was good. But anyway, he went on to move on to Gil Hodges Little League. And he asked me, he said, I want you to come play with Gil Hodges with me. Now, at that time, my parents can afford that. They were factory workers. We didn't have it like that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I wore PF flyers and CADs. I didn't wear nothing special. You know what I'm saying? And anyway, so he came over to my house and he told my father, I want to take Jerry over to Gil Hodges. He was my manager at A Lady of Solace. So before I go to a try, he said, you got to go to a tryout. But he tells me, he says, listen, when you come to the tryout, don't catch the ball, don't hit the ball, make yourself look bad. I want you to be on my team. That's why I'm bringing you here. I said, all right, no problem, Dick. I go down to the tryout. I miss every ground ball that's being hit at me. I'm not catching the ball. I'm swinging and missing. And so at the end of the tryout, I said, Dick, how do I do? He said, hey, that was great, Jerry. I should get you on the team. So then the draft comes. When the draft comes, guess what? I don't get picked up by him. I get picked up by the orange team. and he's like, well, wait a minute. I said to him, how did I get picked up by the orange team? I missed every ball. They don't know who I am.
Right.
So anyway, when I went to the orange team, I said to the guy, I said, listen, why'd you guys pick me? I mean, I didn't catch anything. He goes, listen, you weren't fooling nobody. I knew what you could do. I could see the way you went down on the ground ball. I could, I knew there was something up. So that's why I ended up with the orange team, and I played in Gil Hodges in 1967. Well, lo and behold, I was the Jackie Robinson of Gil Hodges Little League. This league was basically Italians, Jewish people, and Irish. There were no African Americans, and there were no Latino players in there. I was the first to play in that league. So I was the Jackie Robinson of that league.
Wow.
Yeah. And in 1968, I won the most valuable player in the Gil Hodges League. Again, that was another history moment because I was the first non-white, first American player, not African American, to ever win the most valuable player. The coincidence was that was the same year that the New York Mets, 1968, that they won the World Series. They were the world champions. Okay. And I won my MVP trophy and I was awarded. We had a big dinner at the end of the year, and I was shaking because it was between me and this other guy. And I never forget going to the dinner. They used to have these big dinners back in the days, and we went to a catering hall, and this is where you got presented your awards and whatnot. And I was nervous. And when they announced my name, I was shaking, literally, I was shaking, because I didn't expect it. You know what I'm saying? And when I get up to go get my MVP, which was bigger than me, the three gentlemen that presented it to me was Gil Hodges, Jim McAndrew, and Jerry Grody.
No.
Those were the three guys that presented the MVP trophy to me. So it was an honor. It was an honor for me to win that trophy. Being the first, being the first one, the first minority player to ever win the MVP of that league.
What was it like playing in that era? What was it like being that minority playing in that era at that time? I know it could have been crucial.
Yeah, well, Al, what we go through now, we went through back then.
Okay.
there was racism. I was being the first Latino, so I'm playing with a whole bunch of white folks, and they didn't like the fact that a Latino player was pretty good, and that could compete with them. I'm not saying I was the greatest or the best, but I was good. I could hold my own, and they didn't appreciate that, and they would hurl their racial, remarks and things, and don't let this Puerto Rican beat you. Don't let this, don't let the Spic beat you. Things like that. And I'm one that I can't stand those words. I can't stand those words. Those words really make me angry. I got into a lot of trouble even during my career of softball because those are words that I don't use. I even playing around. You know what I'm saying? I have nothing against anybody. If you want to call each other those names, that's up to you guys. I don't do that. I have respect for everybody. Those words are not in my vocabulary to use. But there was a lot of racism. Al, I had to overcome that. There were things. They would take my glove. They would steal my glove. They would put gum on my pants. Things like that. So I went through a lot of stuff like that. I had to go through it, and it only made me a stronger person. It built character in me. It got me ready for the world. Put it that way. For what was going to happen later on. You know what I'm saying? It made me work even that much harder. It made me really want to be a better player and be the best that I could be. Okay.
You said that you was the Jackie Robinson. It's funny because he went through the same thing that you're saying right now. So I kind of see where you was talking about Jackie Robinson.
They would steal my bat. They would do all kinds of things to me, but I persevered that, and like I said, it just made me want to go out there and beat you. But at the same time, always keep my same face, be humble. I appreciated what people, did for me when they did the right thing for me. You always had a few guys that were your friends, that even though the color wasn't the same, they were still there for me to help me out, and be on my side, So, that it was tough. It was tough. I'm not gonna lie, man. It was tough out there in those days, man. It wasn't
I
easy.
can imagine.
It was not easy, man. I'm 65 years of age now, so I'm talking 55 years ago, my brother. It's a long time. Some of you guys are not even older, So it was a long time ago. But it made me strong. It made me strong.
So how far did you get in baseball? Did you get looked? Did you get any looks?
Yeah. I from there I ended up going to Abraham Lincoln High School. 1972. I graduated in 1974. I got the privilege and the honor to play with on my teams. When I went to Lincoln, I played with Lee Mazzilli and Dallas Williams. Lee Mazzilli played, was drafted #1 by the New York Mets when the Mets were very, very bad. That's when Joe Torre took over the team. He became the manager, and he picked a Brooklyn-born, ball player, Lee Mazzilli. And Dallas played my senior year. Dallas Williams joined the team. He was with the Baltimore Orioles. As a matter of fact, he managed in Japan, and he just finished managing. I want to say 2 years ago, he won the championship in the Mexican League. And we're good friends. We're still good friends. We talk to each other and everything. I also got the privilege and the honor to play against a gentleman who played for Lafayette High School by the name of Pete Falcone. He got drafted. He played with San Francisco, the Cardinals, the Mets, the Yankees. He played with those teams also. Let me say this out too before I can mention the other two names. That Brooklyn baseball in that era was phenomenal. It was out of this world. I mean, I played. It was Lincoln, John Jay, New Utrecht, Lafayette, Sheepshead Bay. Man, every Sheepshead Bay had Rico Petrocelli, who played with the Boston Red Sox. I also got the honor to play against Willie Randolph. As you know, he's Bobby Randolph's uncle. I played against Willie. I played against John Candelaria, who played with the Pirates. Okay, so I got to play against guys that were major leagues, and and made a print in the Major League Baseball. I got to later on in my life, I got to umpire major leaguers. In the major leagues, and I guess we'll get to that part, but yeah. And so what happened was I got to look and see what the Dodgers in 70 and 75. I got to look and see. Played shortstop and second base, so I wasn't big enough. I was small. So they didn't take me. But what an experience to go out there and do that. You know what I'm saying? To go out there and try out for them, and it was an honor for me. It was again. Everybody in Coney Island, they respected me for that. I was out of Coney Island, and I was in Sheepshead Bay at that time. I lived my first 16 years in Coney Island, and I left Coney Island to live in Sheepshead Bay. My parents bought a house, and they worked hard and they bought a house. The typical story about the immigrant working hard, working the factory jobs, working and saving their money. And like I said, I didn't wear fancy clothes. I didn't wear none of that stuff. I was a normal, plain boy, growing up. I had to be home. Yeah, man, I had to be home for dinner. Like the old day, we all ate dinner at the table. No, none of this eating out. None of this thing. Hey, Mom, I'll be there later. No. When Mom called you, you had to show up to that house. Because if you didn't, you got to whip it.
Right.
It was, I was 16, 17 years old, and I still had to check into my house. If I wanted to stay out late, I had to go home, not call. I had to go home, show my face, and say, "Hey, Dad, can I stay out an extra hour? I'm going to stay in Al's. I'm going to go play ball with Al." "Oh, okay. Be back here at 7 o'clock. I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for my parents for everything that they've done for me, because without that upbringing, I don't think I'd be where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? They taught me respect. They taught me dignity. I hope that I've always shown that to everyone, whether it be in a ball field, whether it be as my friends, family members. I've always wanted to respect everybody. And thanks to my parents, that's how that started, man.
So when did you leave hardball and convert it into softball? How did that transition go?
Well, what happened once the Dodger thing went down, I still played baseball. I played baseball until about 19, but then I started playing softball. I was always, like I said, I was an athlete. I was always very talented. And I actually started playing softball at a younger age, even when I was doing baseball, because back in the days, I went to public school 80, which is in Coney Island. It's on 19th Street, West 19th Street and Neptune Avenue. I went there up until my 3rd grade. And what happened was, back in the summer, they used to have summer camps. You were able to go to summer camp like from 8 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon. And, it was open. It was for free. They would give you breakfast. They would give you lunch. And, you would go there and you play ping pong, you play skelly, and you play softball. And what used to happen was all the schools used to have teams like PS 80, PS 90, PS 288, and we would play against each other. So believe it or not, I started my softball career as a first baseman.
Wow.
And I'm a little guy. I'm only 5'7", but I was a little guy that played first base. But the thing was that I was low to the ground. I was a phenomenal first baseman. I could scoop everything. And I was fast and I could hit. But I always had a talent because I pitched in baseball. I used to be, my baseball career was, I would play double headers. Like I was telling you earlier, Al, we would play about 140 baseball games. We would play triple hitters and quadruple hitters on the weekends, 2 or 3 games every week, every weekday, then practice. So I always had a talent where my arm was alive and I could throw the ball, I could throw hard, and I could pitch. So game 1, I would play maybe second base or shortstop, leading off. I hear him lead off batter. I'm stealing bases. I'm playing the whole 7 innings. Game 2, I'm pitching, leading off, stealing bases, and I'm pitching now too. And that's how I evolved as a pitcher. I always could throw the ball hard. I was wild. I had to hone in my skills, but as the years got on, I got better and better. My coach, I'm seeing one of these things. One of the guys saying that their coach was Coach Malone. My coach was a guy named Herb Isaacson. Herbie Isaacson, tremendous baseball coach. He got drafted by the San Francisco Giants. Coach Malone, when I was there, was actually was into the football coach. He was in football coach. But Herb Isaacson was my baseball coach back then when we were with Lee and Ron, right. Ron did graduate. That's right.
Ron. Yeah.
Right. So, I played with, we played with Herbie Isaacson. That was my coach. There. So that's how I started with the baseball, the softball. I played in the public schools. We used to go around traveling. And then, little by little, I started playing in Coney Island. We had teams that made up in Coney Island. This team called the Hombres was the first team I played with in Coney Island. Besides my junior high school, I went to Mark Twain Junior High School. And they had, again, public school had a softball league, and we played softball in the public schools. And one year, I want to say it was 1970, I think it was, we won the city championship in softball, and again, playing there, I played there, and I played with the Hombres, and that was a PAL league, Police Athletic League, when the Police Athletic League was really involved, when the policemen were really involved with the community, and they would help the kids, and they were out there. When, I always tell people today that the cop back then, man, was so respected. They're so respected because in those days they walked the beat. There was no, there was no cameras. There was no, they didn't ride the car. I mean, you had the same cop on your corner. On his off days, he would come to the schoolyards and play with us. He would even meet your family. He would meet your family. He would come have lunch with you. The police officer was a respected person. At the same time, they also respected you. Back in my days, the parents gave the cops, a police officer, permission to take care of you. Back then the cops, they didn't beat you up. If you did something wrong, man, they come over to you, hey, listen, pop, they give you a little swack in your butt and move on. Or they would threaten you. And what would they tell you? They would tell you, listen, if you don't behave, I'm going to go take it to your mother and your father. And guess what, Al? You didn't want that. I remember a cop telling me that one day. You know what I told him? No, take me to the precinct, bro. Don't take me home to mom and dad, because mom and dad would whip your butt. You hear me? Would whip it. Okay, and how it was back then in those days was mom whipped you first, and then when dad got home, you had another whipping.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So when a cop used to tell you, listen, no, take me to the precinct, man. Don't take me to my mother or father. You kidding me? I'm gonna get killed. But that's how the PAL was. They were involved with us. They got involved. They would play ball with us, whether it's basketball, football, baseball, so whatever it was, they were involved with us. And yes, there were some bad cops every here once in a while, but the majority of them were good guys. They, like I said, they walked the beat. They I always tell people today the policeman has it easy because they got cameras and stuff like that. Back then, you had to go around, man. You had to investigate. You had to really walk the beat to get the information. You understand what I'm saying? So, and I got involved with the PAL, and that's where we started, with the PAL. And then from there, like I said, I moved on to the outside leagues, playing with this team called the Hombres in the Luna Park League. We started, I played with them in the PAL. Then we went to the Luna Park League. And a lot of us who played this game in softball, especially old time, that's where we got our start, in the Luna Park League. That was a big league, and there was 60 to 80 teams in that league, and that's where I started. I played with this team called the Chargers, a guy by the name of Matty Eisenstadt. He gave me a shot to play with him. I was pitching. I was learning how to pitch. I could throw the ball hard, but I was wild. I still didn't have my craft done yet. You know what I'm saying? I still had to learn it, and I was working on it. And, that was a big thing for me, playing out there with them. And I started getting recruited. Started playing in that league. I played in the Kelly Park League. I played in the Dust Bowl. And, and I started working on my craft. One of the things I always did, even in baseball, I always worked at it. In the wintertime, when it was snow and blizzards, I would go to Ladies' House, the schoolyard, and I would take a shovel, 20-degree weather, and make a path to the wall. And I would take the ball, be packed up, put a lot of clothes on, and throw the ball off the wall and make believe I was Mickey Mantle, I was Roberto Clemente, I was this. In my mind, I was going through scenarios and plays. Man on second, guy going third, throw the third, get him out. Always going through scenarios. And that's why I learned my pitching too. I would always throw the ball. I was always had a ball in my hand throwing the ball. So I played, with them, with the Chargers. And I played with a lot of different teams. Teams started looking up, looking to get me. And then a good friend of all of ours, and may he rest in peace, Mr. Dave Goldstein, picked me up. He asked me, Jerry, we want you to play with us. This team in Brooklyn, blah, blah, blah. I want to go play in the Gershwin League. I didn't know. I was still raw behind it. I said, absolutely, Dave. Come on, I'll come get you. And again, Dave reminded me of my baseball man, Lula DiMartino, would come with his van or his car and pick us all up in that car and van to bring us to Gershwin to play, Yeah, he would come and get us, we would be sitting on each other's laps. Any place there was a spot, that's where you sat in Dave's car.
Right,
As I've heard in many of your, interviews with guys, I've heard them all talk about Dave. Dave was a special man. I mean, yeah. I miss him. I know we all miss him. He was special. Very few men like him. Again, remember, a white Jewish man hanging out with Latinos and African Americans. Yes. What better than that, man? You don't find, you couldn't get better than that, than Dave Goldstein. Couldn't get better than that, And he would throw me out there, man. Yeah, I had the ball. I had the ball all the games. I played every game with Dave. I would pitch most of the games. Some of my teammates that I played with, Speedy, I played with Speedy, who was a tremendous athlete too, I played with a gentleman by the name of Gary Johnson, Wahoo, another man that close to my heart. Another man close to my heart. How I miss Wahoo, man. He was a tremendous player, tremendous center fielder. He could do it all. 5 tools, could hit, could run, could throw you out from the outfield. He had a cannon for an arm, a cannon. I played with Chris Legree. Then I met this young whippersnapper who started his career with me, Mr. Al Watson. Mr. Al Watson, man. What a ball player. What a ball player. I mean, I remember watching him. He was young, bravado. He had his little temperaments, like we all did. I was the same way when I started, But, man, what a shortstop. The plays this guy would make was incredible. I mean, I would sit there and say, how the hell did this guy make these plays? But before Al, there was another shortstop that I played with that's dear to my heart. Was a gentleman by the name of Leon Baez.
Leon Baez. Now, I've heard that name many a times through a lot of the legends that come on here. Tell me something about this young man.
Alvin, a Hispanic gentleman. This guy was another guy. He would fast and short with that long hair, that long moppy hair, man. But the plays this guy would make in the hole, diving to the right, diving to the left, jumping midair. I mean, the plays were incredible. Things that I never thought a guy could do, and he was doing this on concrete, diving, just throwing himself. Yeah, because that's how the guys when we played. That's what we did. Blacktop. We dove. I remember I used to slide in that shit. I used to go in the streets when I was playing wiffle ball as a kid and slide with shorts. Slide on concrete with glass. But we knew how to slide. There's a way of sliding that you don't get hurt and you don't get raspberries. And we knew that. That's how we used to do. And Leon was, man, another guy that I missed. He died. Another guy that left us too young. Right. What a player. What a player. Could hit, could do it all. And he was close to me because, he was the type of guy that he was very close to me. Like he would always come and talk to me. He would always be amazed with me. And I'm like, this guy only knew I'm amazed with him. Like how good is he? How good was you? And he always, Jerry, man, you that change up, you great, man. I said, Leon, you make me, brother. You make me. Right. You make me, not me. I don't make you. And then another ball player that I played with was a gentleman by the name of Chris Legree. Mm-hmm. And me and Chris go way back. He was Wahoo's. He was Gary Johnson's, one of Gary's best friends. Now, Chris, I know Chris from junior high school. We used to play basketball against him. He played for Somers Junior High School. I played for Mark Twain. And we used to have tournaments. And we used to beat him because we had a gentleman by the name of William Conley who played for Mark Twain. He went to Lafayette High School. He had a 4-year scholarship at San Diego State, and he played in the NCAA. So me and Chris go back, and I don't know if Chris remembers, we go back from the Somers Junior High School years when we played basketball against each other. I was a point guard, and Chris was another one that played, second base, Speedy, like I said, Al, Leon. I played with Lefty McQueen, another legend. Lenny Ming, another legend. Mr. Irv Brown, another legend. Irv Brown, man, may he rest in peace. These are guys, legends. Lefty McQueen, legend. I know they played law ball because that was their game. That was the amazing thing to me, that guys like Al Watson and Leon and Speedy and Irv Brown and Lefty McQueen and Lenny Ming, they played law ball too. They were phenomenal law ball players. And I was always impressed how they could play law ball. They come, play a law ball game and then come right, put the sneakers on and the cleats on and go play fast pitch. Like it was nothing. And hit the ball and do. I'm like, well, wait a minute. These guys are law ball legends. And look at them playing, fast pitch, modified ball. Incredible. And I got to appreciate it in law ball even more, especially Al, Tep, and Butch, because I got to umpire them. When I umpired their league 3 years at St. John's and some games at Kingston, I got to umpire. And when I used to watch Tep and Al and Butchie play the field, it was incredible to watch those guys. And Leon, to watch those guys play law ball. Guys are hacking and so you have to hit his game and the plays these guys would make. I would play short left field and throw you out from freaking left field, nearly. I mean, it was crazy how, these guys would, make those plays, you know what I'm saying? And so, that was my beginning.
That's the debate.
Yeah.
Where you talk about Al, Tep, and Butch, about those three shortstops, at least in my era, those are the three that I've seen play. Yeah. But to hear you talk about the same thing, that's the ironic part, that the history, you've seen those three, you know what I'm saying, up close and personal at an early age.
Listen, like I said, Al was a baby when when he came on with me, when he was playing with me. He was young. I remember him. Speedy's my age, so I knew, but Speedy was another phenomenon. Speedy was another guy, could play anywhere, could pitch, could play third, could catch, could play first, could do anything and hit the shit out of the ball, And it was incredible. It was incredible to watch these guys play. That was another cultural thing for me because I got to play with African Americans, in their league, in their ball, and had the honor to play with these guys, and that league made me a better pitcher. I mean, there was a guy that used to play there by the name of John Jameson, and he was another legend. This guy's a legend. This guy was like 6'3", 250, he was like a linebacker. One of his arms was the size of my whole body. He did some time, and then when he came out, he was a pitcher. And this guy was standing with 2 feet on the rubber, present the ball to you, and the ball would come out of his hands like 100 miles an hour. Incredible. I remember losing when I first met him. The first time I think I faced him, I lost to him 2-1 in the game. Tremendous game. He's punching out guys. I'm striking out guys. Remember, he's throwing hard. I'm throwing my changeup. And the thing about my changeup was that it came out of the same motion as my fastball. So, and you never could tell how it was coming out. But JJ was an incredible pitcher. I mean, I faced pitching that era was incredible. I mean, there was guys like Butchie Gonzalez, and there was a guy named Zorro, and there's a guy named Mijo, and there was a guy Junior Roman. There was a guy Sundown. I mean, there was tons of pitchers, bro, that were phenomenal in this modified era. The era that we played in, the era that I played in, tremendous pitching. A guy named Feo, Willie Rios. I can go on and on with the list. Tremendous pitching.
So I know you did your thing on the pitching level.
Right.
When you were pitching, did you ever feared anybody when you was up there? Because you have certain teams that you say, oh man, I got to play this team or play this team. Did you ever fear anybody when you played against them?
Alvin, I'm going to tell you the truth. If you don't have fear, you're never going to become good, because you gotta respect the other player. He's got a bat in his hand. Okay, he's got a bat in his hand, and he can do damage to you. I was confident, but it was in an inner confidence. I believed in me. I'm not a gambler. To this day, Atlantic City doesn't do nothing to me. None of that stuff, betting. The only time I would ever bet is when I had the ball in my hand. Okay, when I had the ball in my hand, I was confident because I knew I had control. See, to me, I feel like gambling, there's no control of that. Somebody's playing, somebody's dealing you cards, right? Somebody's throwing the dice, the machine. But when I played, I had control. So I would know how I felt that day when I'm ready to pitch. Mm-hmm. I knew if I had it, if I didn't have it. So, but fear, you got to have some kind of fear. I don't care. I mean, even LeBron James, you can tell me, the greatest, whatever. Michael Jordan, that's what makes you better. That's what makes you go over the top when you fear. Fear, because the fear is what? The fear of losing.
Yeah, that's right.
The fear of losing. You don't want to lose. I'm a sore loser. I never wanted to lose. I always wanted to win. I always wanted to win. That was in my heart. I want to win every game. If I pitch 10 games, I want to win all 10 games. Okay, so fear. We had fear. I had fear. And the nerves. The little nerves going into a game. Big game. I pitched a lot of big games, so the fear was there, and there was nerves. To do good. I didn't want to embarrass myself. I didn't want to let my team down. So that's the fear that you have, because remember, you got 8 other guys there with you. And that's the fear that I would have, that I let them down. And if I let them down, I look bad. We lost the game. Even though I believe the game, especially in this game, is a team game. It's 9 players.
Now, I know you said you never bet it, but you told me a story about about $400 or something. Tell me that story to everybody.
Well, I don't know if Speedy was around there with me, but this was a game. This is when I was playing with Brooklyn. Wahoo was with me. Chris was with me. We were playing. Dave, we would go and play. We had no fear. That Brooklyn. That's one thing I said about Brooklyn. Brooklyn would play anybody, anywhere. Didn't give a crap about who it was, who was playing, who was pitching. Well, anyway, one day we go up to, Dave says, we're playing money games. Okay, Dave said, we're going to go up to the East River Drive, Alphabet City. We're going to play this team. It's a Spanish team. All right, we're going. No problem. Dave comes and picks. Oh, Speedy says he was around. Okay, we go. Dave picks us up. It's a night game under the lights. We go to the East River Drive. We go out there and play. I think the game was maybe for 800 total, 900, whatever it was. Anyway, we happened to beat the shit out of this team. We beat him like 12-0. I pitched a shutout, whatever it was. It was 12, but we beat him easy. The guy comes after the game. Now he comes over to me because I spoke Spanish. He says, "Listen, I want you guys to come back next week. My players weren't here. Bring all the money you guys want to bring. Bring it all. We're gonna cover you. We're gonna, no problem. Okay. You're not scared. You're not putting no fear in us. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna come. Okay. So the following week comes, and Dave again picks us all up, and we go to the park. We're warming up. They're warming up. I'm watching the team because I'm pitching the game, and maybe a few different guys. I don't see much different, but a few different guys. But like I said, I was a confident guy. I was a cocky guy, but within myself. I'm saying, listen, we whipped your butt last week. We're gonna whip it again. So as a matter of fact, Dave had to pick up a ball player. I think we were short. He picked up a gentleman by the name of Johnny Cantone, a white guy. Again, another, this was how Dave, this is what Dave did. Dave did. Dave would do that. And so we go and we play. We go play this game. The guy comes over to me and says, we got, I might be off a couple of dollars. We got, I think it was 2,500 or 3,000. So I said to him, okay, the bet is on. Not knowing, when I go back to see Dad, I said, Dave, how much do we got? Dave, we got about 4 and change. I said, okay. I didn't say nothing to nobody. The bet's on. No problem. I'm saying to myself, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking to myself, wow, we're gonna party tonight. We blew these guys out last week. I'm ready to blow them out again. We got our 400 or 500 to their 2,500. Man, we're gonna. So I don't say nothing to nobody. I go on the mound. We start playing. The game is not as easy as it was last week. It's a nothing game. I think we score a run or two. We're up 2-0, and nobody knows nothing. I'm the only one that knows what's going on. But meanwhile, talk about fear. I had fear. I had fear because I'm saying, if we lose this game, we're gonna have to run and jump into the river, because we don't have the money to cover it. And back in those days, those Alphabet City, that's drug dealers, numbers guys, that's where Nicky Barnes, that's where he came from. You know what I'm saying? So I said to myself, holy shit, if we lose this, my own team's gonna kill me, never mind the other team. Close game. Anyway, something happens in the inning, in the bottom of fifth, I think it was, and I load the bases up, and Dave comes out. Hey, Jay, what's going on? I said, I'm all right, Dave. I said, David, I don't feel good. Take me out. He doesn't know what's going on. He goes, what? I said, take me out. So anyway, we finished the inning. I get out of the inning, and that gets better. I go to Wahoo. I say, Wahoo, come over. We only got 400. We're playing for 2,500. Gary looked at me. Gary's eyes opened so damn big. His whites were like coming out of his head. I said, Jerry, are you crazy? What are you doing? Look at the score. The next thing I got in trouble again. I loaded the bases. I got number 2, 3, and 4 coming up. Well, lucky for me, I strike out number 2, number 3, and I get number 4 to pop up. We end up winning the game. When I told Dave what happened, I told him before that. After I told Gary, Dave turned whiter than white. He's like, don't ever do that again to me, Jerry. How could you do that? We didn't have the money. What would have happened if we would have lost? I said, Dave, we didn't lose. Don't worry about it. Anyway, we had a party that day because, we won 2,500. We only had 4. I gave guys money. I kept money. Just, things like that. And that was crazy. But that's the way I was in the game. When I pitched, I had the ball in my hand, and I played for money. I was the cocky guy. I was blessed with a talent that I won those types of games. And I've won. That's how I got my reputation. When I started playing in all these Spanish leagues and playing, I won a lot. Mostly every place I won championships. One thing that did happen to me, again, talking about fear, I played in this league called the Candy Kit League, which was up by Williamsburg, Greenpoint area. Okay, so we're in the championship round playing with San Sabetan. Okay. And it's for a trip to Puerto Rico. Now, a trip to Puerto Rico back in those days was about you playing for $20,000 because it included your airfare and it included your hotel. Okay, so we're in the playoffs. We're in the finals. I pitch game 1, I lose. My partner, this guy by the name of Fabian, pitches game 2, he wins. I pitch game 3, I lose. He pitches game 4, he wins. I pitch game 5, I lose. He pitches game 6, he wins. Now we're going to game 7. Now, I'm the ace. Manager's got to make a decision, right? I've lost 3 games. He's won 3 games. Who do we go with? So, manager, Jerry, you got the ball. I'm saying, Ruben, you sure? He goes, yes, I'm sure, bro. Listen, he was paying me. I'm paying you. You're the man. You're either gonna win it or we're gonna lose it with you. Anyway, I ended up pitching game 7, and I ended up beating the team 5-2. I beat him and we won the championship to go to Puerto Rico. But you talk about fear. That was another game that I had fear in me because I was a failure. I was the guy that was getting paid. I was the ace, and here I am in game 7 of a $20,000 championship, pitching game 7. But thank God I prevailed with that.
Yeah, that's good. Let me ask you a question about Gershwin, because I heard there's a lot of history that came out of Gershwin. Explain to me about that atmosphere in Gershwin, because, we played in Kingston Park, and I've never had the opportunity to see Gershwin. And I heard, Kingston Park, in my opinion, the atmosphere was just bananas when it came playoff time. Tell me about the atmosphere at Gershwin Park.
Let me tell you something. Gershwin was an experience for me. Again, I was a young kid coming from Coney Island. I never experienced that kind of stuff. I went there to the park one day. When I went to the first time with Dave, the place was packed. Guys are watching the game. There's games before you, there's games after. The big game place was packed. And I guess, I don't know if it was Dave goes, gave me like a little build-up. So people stood to watch who I was. They wanted to see who this guy Jerry is. And here they see a little nothing man, little guy coming on the mound, all 5'2" of me, 5'3" of me, and I'm throwing hard. I'm throwing the ball real hard, and I'm throwing change-ups, and my ball is moving, guys are striking out, and people weren't used to that in softball. But the atmosphere was electrified there. I mean, the fans knew the game. They got on your case when you messed up, and they gave you your props when you did the right thing. Something I'll never forget. I mean, it was one of my early my career, my early start, it was a place that I played ball. To me, it was like a baseball hall of fame. It was like a baseball hall of fame. It was a place where legends were made out of. It was people. I always said this, that people never really got to know about Gershwin, because that was like I'm going to say this with all due respect to the players. It was like your guys' stadium, Yankee Stadium. You know what I'm saying? Like I was used to Red Hook and the Brooklyn, the White Boy League, the Brooklyn League. I was used to that side of Brooklyn. This was like a culture shock, man. I never went to the other side. You know what I'm saying? And to watch the players there, Rob McQueen, the guy, a lot of ball players that were there that were legends, that nobody knew about on my side of Brooklyn. So when I would go to Madison, I would talk about guys like Speedy and Lenny and Wahoo. To tell you how good it was, I took Wahoo with me to play with Heroes Inn. He was the first black player to play in that American league. It was all white. I played with mostly Italian guys, white mafioso guys. That's who I played with. Those were the guys that paid me. And I took Gary with me, and they couldn't believe how good Gary Johnson was. I mean, he was an incredible athlete. I wish I could have took him with me when I went on to my CBS career, and played with CBS. I'll tell you a story quickly about what happened when I played with the Brooklyn League.
Okay.
It was I had played there 1 year. I was playing in Red Hook, and I played there 1 year. And the team that I lost to in the semifinals that year was a wintry storm. It was a blizzard. The manager of that team I'll never forget. He comes ringing my bell. My father, I was downstairs. I was living with my parents. I was downstairs in the basement. My father said, "Jerry, there's somebody who's looking for you." I said, "Who's looking for me?" I go upstairs, and it's this guy, a manager by the name of Tony Rana. Heroes Inn, and he says to me, "I want you to play with us." I said, "Well, I don't know, He said, "Listen, I'm going to show you how much I want you to play." He throws out 10 $100 bills. He throws $1,000 on the table. I looked at myself. Oh, I said, I don't know. I got to think about it. I remember my father pulling me to the side saying, "Listen, Jerry, be careful. Don't take that money, because if you take that money, you got to make a commitment. You got to be there. This is not a joke here. You got to be there." Because in the beginning, I was known to play with different teams, and it was hard to make every game. You're playing with 20 different teams at one time. Yeah. It's hard. So he says to me, I said, let me think about it, Tony. He goes back and takes another $1,000 out and puts it on the table. He said, "Look, that's how much we want you." Again, Tony, let me think about it, man. No, there's nothing to think about. There's more where this came from. Let me think about it. Goes back in his pocket, takes another $1,000. Anyway, at the end, to make the story short, he took out $4,000 for me to play with, just to sign. That's it. Finally, I gave in to the guy. I said, "Okay, I'm going to play." So we started talking about a contract. He said, "Okay, listen, this is the sign. I'm going to give you $2,000 more at the end of the season. I'm going to give you $100 every game you pitch, whether you pitch a full 7 innings or you pitch one batter. You get $100.
Wow.
Plus, I'm going to give you 10% of what I bet."
True.
So you're talking about that season with that guy. That 1 year, I made $6,000 just signing with him, plus maybe another $2,000 with $100 every game that I pitch, plus 10% of what he bet. I don't remember what he bet, but we used to play bet. We used to bet all those Italians. They used to bet all the time. And a point that I'm just remembering now, and I'm seeing a message here. In Gershwin, there was another guy that I played with that was a great pitcher too, who impressed me. And Speedy just remembered, was a Freddie Robinson. He was a left-handed pitcher. Freddie was a tremendous pitcher. Left-handed, too hard, had a nice riser. He could really throw the ball. And then there was another gentleman, an older gentleman by the name of Russ Tilley. He was a white guy. I think he played with the Gardeners. His son used to catch him. Another phenomenal athlete. He wasn't a guy who threw hard, but he knew how to pitch, move the ball around. One of the things about the pitchers back in those days was we knew how to pitch. You know what I'm saying? We knew how to pitch the game. It wasn't like today these guys throw the ball. We knew how to move the. If you stood on top of the plate, we jammed you. You went outside, we hit the outside corner. That was one of my things, and I could pinpoint pitches, location. You know what I'm saying? I was good at that. I could do that. I never gave you a 3-0 law ball. Never. You got a 3-1 or a 3-0 pitch, I used to paint the black on you. You know what I'm saying? You were not going to hit a law ball. And then, I threw you a law ball. That's why you hit the ball over the fence. Nah. If I couldn't if you didn't hit my pitch, then I walked you, and I went on to the next guy. You know what I'm saying? So that's with the Brooklyn League. That's how I got started with money, making money.
Now with the contracts, was every pitcher different when it came to doing something like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
Depending on the sponsors.
Did you make your own contract? Like say this is what you wanted, or
I was a guy. I was humble, like I said. So I never knew what it was. To me, softball. I mean, to get paid, I never used to ask for any money. I was the guy that everybody took advantage of in the beginning. I would just play with you for free because I loved the game. I still love the game. That's how I did it. But then there were guys that played. Guys like Willie Rios, Feo, and Butchie Gonzalez, and John Jameson, they used to pay him. They used to pay these guys. So, I used to watch like, damn, guys are making, I see this money being transferred. And I said, what's happening? I said, oh, they batting, man. They would tell me, Jerry, you got to get yours, bro. You're the guy pitching. You make. So then finally, they started using me to make their money. I made it a business. Okay, well, now we're gonna, you're gonna pay me. But I never went in there saying I wanted XYZ as far as money. Okay. Whatever they wanted to give me, I was humbled. I was appreciated. I love the game. To this day, I love this game. That's why I still umpire. I've been umpiring now 30 years. I love the game. Then I made a business out of it, and I made so much money with this. I mean, I housed this. I mean, I brought things that I traveled. True story out. I didn't learn how to drive until the age of 40 years old. I'll tell you what. Yes, sir. I'll tell you why. Because of softball, the sponsors, they used to drive me around. They would pick me up in limousines. They would pick me up. I mean, I got flown into a game when I played with CBS with Jim Jensen in a helicopter in the middle of the field. Okay. I didn't need to drive car service. When I played ball, teams would be waiting for me to pitch that game, and then to take me. Like I would start in Brooklyn and then go to Staten Island and then go to Jersey and then go all the way across to Long Island, and they would be sending drivers to pick me up. I didn't drive. So I would leave my house like 8 o'clock in the morning with a suitcase of uniforms, and then they would go get me and drive me around to the different games. So I didn't need a car until later on in life, bro. I didn't need it. Listen, I've eaten in the finest places. I've been, here's what they used to do. And Speedy's saying something about the money, and it's true. He's saying they used to pay us $20 a strikeout. They would pay pitchers to strike you out. They would go. People on the outside would bet, "Hey, I bet Al gets a base hit off you. I bet you can't strike him out. I bet you can't do it." And there was money always being bet. I'm going to tell you another story about a drug dealer that I played with.
Tell her that. I like that.
Anyway, so I never needed a car because I was special. I was playing. They would just drive me around. Any place I went, drive me around, food, anything I wanted, they got for me. There wasn't a thing that I didn't have. One year, I'm playing in this league in Alphabet City. Again, a Spanish league for a trip to Puerto Rico. The trip was worth $20,000. The sponsor was paying. He was the biggest cocaine dealer in New York. He's locked up for life now. He was the biggest cocaine dealer in New York, up in Alphabet City. He paid all the ball players. And this team that I played with had ex-minor league baseball, professional baseball players. It was a tremendous team. He paid out more money than the trip was worth. I mean, the money he paid for the trip 10 times, 2 times over. But it wasn't about the trip. In those days, it was about the money being bet. That's how that's why you have no sponsors today. That's why you have no sponsors, because nobody sponsors the teams today because nobody bets. And the players don't want to go back to the bar. In those days, there was betting done all the time, bro. Every game you play, every game I played was money on the line. Always money on the line, money on the line. And Al and Speedy, they know about these things. It was always money on the line. And Butchie, it was always money on the line. So anyway, one day, I'm in Manhattan. We're playing in the league for a trip to Puerto Rico. Now, we won that league each. I mean, we had the best team by far. Me and this guy, Feo, we pitched together. You couldn't beat us. The team that we had professional baseball players on every position.
Right.
Phenomenal team, So anyway, we're playing this other team that James Flowers played on, Ovilio, Albert V.S., who may he rest in peace. They were also sponsored by another team who were drug dealers. So that day, the bet between the two teams was $150,000. Oh, okay. The bet outside, the people, now this park on 10th Street, this was on 10th Street on the east side of the FDR Drive, was $75,000. And as Speedy was saying, there were people betting that day on everything. Each pitch, each this, each that, just betting. Now, I'm pitching that game. And now remember, I'm getting 100 to pitch, right? Win or lose. And I'm getting 10% of that bet.
Ooh.
Okay. Anyway, I ended up winning 5-2. And the game's over. Now we're gonna go party. You know, back then, bro, there were parties, bro. If you did drugs, there were drugs. If you wanted women, there were women. Food, whatever you wanted, beer, liquor, whatever you wanted, you had it. You talk about big times. These guys had, you know, their places to do these things. So at the end of the guy gives me my money, gives me $15,000 cash. He used to walk around with bags of money and his bodyguards, $15,000 cash. I'm gonna tell you a story before that with the same guy. It's the one that you want to hear. Anyway,
yeah.
So he says to me, he tells his bodyguard, he says, listen, I said, oh, you know, I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna go home, get, call me a cab. I didn't drive. Remember, I don't drive. He said, no. He tells his 4x, no. Listen, guys, put Jerry in the car, you take him home, make sure he gets into the house, he's walking around with a lot of money. I want nothing to happen to him. And that's what they did. They would take me in the car, their special black car, caddy, and took me home. And I never forget, I walked in the house and I threw that money on the table. My wife looked at me and she's like, what are you doing? You selling drugs? I said, no, I just won that. Because I used to come home every weekend with at least $3,000 on the table. Because that's the kind of money I used to make, back in those days. Okay. This same guy, here's the story you want to hear out. And people will, I guess they'll appreciate it and they'll laugh or think I'm crazy. Me and Feo, we go to sign. We go to sign our contracts to play with this guy. This is in the beginning of the year. He lived in Alphabet City and the projects there. There's projects there, right? On the Lower East Side. So he tells us, go to the projects, this address on this floor. We go there, we knock on the door, no one's there. We walk back down, we call the guy, no, go there, I'm going to be there. We finally go there, he opens the door. He owns 6 apartments in this projects complex. We walk in, and all there is a wooden table with 3 chairs, his chair and 2 chairs. I guess, I don't know, they were there. Me and Feo signed down. He takes the contract out. He says, okay, Feo, here, sign the contract. And he gives him $2,000 for signing the contract. Now he's going to give us $2,000 up front, $2,000 at the end of the year. Okay. Then he tells there was about 20 duffel bags, army duffel bags, those big ones, behind him against the wall, standing up. We're thinking these are the uniforms for the team. That's what you think, right? I'm going there. We don't pick up a uniform.
Yeah.
So Feo, now I start to sign. Feo gets up and goes to go get his duffel bag. Feo gets the duffel bag and then he opens it right there. And I'm signing my contract. All of a sudden, I see Feo turn whiter than white, man, pale. And he looks up and he goes, no, I don't want this. What are you, crazy? I'm saying, what the hell is going on? So then I sign and he says to me, Jerry, go get your bag too. So I go there and I open my bag. Well, Al, when we opened the bags, what it was $250,000 of cocaine, block cocaine. Swear to God, you can ask Feo. Anybody doesn't believe this story, you can ask Willie Reed, Feo, and Speedy knows what I'm talking about. You and Al know. You could ask him; he'll tell you the story. He tells the guy says to us, "That's for you guys. For you guys. What are we gonna do with this? We don't do that." He said, "No, take it and sell it. It's $250,000. Do what you want with it." I looked at the guys. Are you crazy? To myself, is this guy crazy? At that time, the narcos were around in Alphabet City. You couldn't walk in Alphabet City because there was cops, undercovers, and everything. I'm saying to myself, if I walk out of that building and cops stop us, we're doing life. We're done. We're done. And that's how it was back in those days. The Spanish leagues, the sponsors were all drug dealers and numbers guys. Okay, these guys were crazy. Money was no limit to money for them. They would spend whatever they had to spend. They would spend more money on players. They would pay in betting than the trip was worth. So that's what we used to play. The Spanish leagues used to play for trips to Puerto Rico or the Dominican Republic. That was the thing. Yeah. That was the thing. That's how it was.
What was it like? You had another story.
Which one is this one?
the one where you got the police escort?
Oh, yes, sir. That was a privilege and an honor for me. Guys in the softball world, I'm sure they've heard his name. They've heard of the king in his court. The guy that used to pitch was a guy by the name of Eddie Feiner. And for anybody who has not ever heard of the king in his court or Eddie Feiner, just go on YouTube and punch in the king in his court or Eddie Feiner. This is the greatest softball pitcher to ever live. Nobody did it better. No one would ever do it. No one would ever do it better than him.
Like you ain't do it as close to him?
Huh? No. Not even. If you kidding me? Nobody. Like I said to you, if you've never seen him, go on YouTube and punch in the king in his court or Eddie Feiner. He played with three other guys. It was him and three other guys. So he played a catcher, a first baseman, okay? You ready for this? And an outfielder. That's it. That's how good this guy was. Wait a minute.
Nobody on the other side of the field.
Nope, didn't need it. This was a gentleman. He played on, they had him on TV, CBS. But back in the day, they used to have a CBS spectacular. He was over, every year they would put him on TV. But this guy, and when I faced him, he was already old. But this guy would go to second base blindfolded and strike you out. Okay? Blindfolded and strike you out.
Wait.
He has pitched against major leaguers. Willie Mays, he played against major leaguers. You go on YouTube and you see it. And he struck those guys out. And these are major league baseball players that could hit fastballs. K'd him like it was nothing. K'd him.
You said blindfolded?
Blindfolded from second base. Go on YouTube, Al.
I gotta go check this dude out.
Go. That's right. Go on YouTube, man. His name is Eddie Feiner from the king in his court. Now, some of it was gimmicky.
Okay.
They want you to do certain things. But he was so good that you couldn't pull the ball. You wouldn't pull the ball. You would either hit it to first base or right back out, or you would hit it to center field. And the center field would play shallow. Okay, that's how good his guy was. The greatest to ever do this, to pitch the game of softball. The greatest. They've written books. I think he had a movie done. Wasn't a big movie done. He was on TV. He's been in Wide World Sports. All kinds of. The greatest. I had the privilege and honor. So anyway, what happened? We was playing with CBS with Jim Jensen. At that time, it was the first Special Olympics that they ever held. The Kennedys, Eunice Shriver, she held. It was the first Special Olympics that they had, and they had it at Mitchell Field in Long Island. So we get picked up at the studio at West 57th Street, 11th Avenue, in a charter bus, and we get police escort from Midtown Manhattan to Mitchell Field in Long Island. We get there like in 35 minutes. It was like Moses opening the sea. Now you imagine on a summer night, and I think it was a Friday night, we're going to Long Island from Midtown Manhattan, bro. And 35, the cops, it was 4 cop cars. They just opened the highway up and we got through there. That's how fast we got there. Played in front of about 30,000 people, celebrities all over the place. There was, Mets, Yankees, Angel Cordero, Dwight Gooden, Strawberry. Back then it was Greg Nettles. We played in front of everybody. And that's another part we're going to get into is that Jim Jensen and I played with the WCBS All Stars, and then and Jim Jensen, another great man who loved the game of softball. He was a pitcher. He used to play in Central Park. He was a pitcher. He started a team called the WCBS All Stars. Originally, it was meant to be where the news station would play. It was him, Irv Tchaikovsky, Jim Bouton, Mr. G, Frank Fields. They would play charity games all over the place, all over the tri-state area. And what happened was one day I pitched against them. I went to Jones Beach and I pitched against them. And I ended up striking out 12 guys, 12 of their players. And this is when it was already a ringer team. They had other players. They had guys like Ardo Garcia, Yogi Colon, Nelson Alvarado. They had it was a ringer team plus Jim. So after every game, we would go out to eat. It was for charity, and the team that you played against would take you out to eat. So we go to this restaurant called the Ground Round in Long Island. And we're sitting down, and he comes over to me, listen, he says, sir, we would like you to play with us. I said, I don't know if I could do that, Jim. I'm playing, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if we could play. I don't know if I could play. So anyway, he got me onto the team, and the rest was history. I started playing with them, and we became a powerhouse team. We won 2 national championships with CBS because what happened was we were playing in Central Park, and we got tired of. I told him, listen, we used to win every year there. I said to him, let's go play tournament ball, and I took him to tournaments, and that's how we started playing tournament ball. One of the things that people don't understand about CBS was our softball budget back in those days was $75,000.
What?
Yes. We had a $75,000 softball budget. We had charter buses. We were like a professional team. They would charter us in a bus. Every place we went, the bus would charter us. We would go to Puerto Rico and play. One year, Jim was actually trying to get us to go to Cuba to play because Fidel Castro and him were very good friends.
Right.
And Jim was trying to get us to go to Cuba. But what happened was the State Department didn't want us to go there because they were afraid they might hold us hostage.
Yeah.
So we didn't go, but we were supposed to go, So we ended up going to Puerto Rico. And that's where we won 2 national championships with CBS All-Stars. I got the honor to play with them. Another thing that I got an honor was I got to meet celebrities. I got to hang out and have dinner with Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, Rocky Graziano, Warner Klemper, Colonel Klink, because Jim, at that time, he was the #1 newscaster at WCBS. He was the big boy. He was the big dog. He knew everybody. And when we played, because of who I was, I pitched, he would take me with him. I went to the Plaza Hotel. I went to the Waldorf, and hang out and eat with these guys, Pacino and De Niro. And this was when they were young and they were starting. They were great guys. And they would come and watch us.
Those are my favorites.
Yeah. They would come and watch us every Saturday in Central Park when we played. So we got to know them. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing with CBS. And, Al, one of the things I also played in the Red Hook League and Spanish League again. And, one of my great memories, we won a championship there 4 years in a row. We were the first team to do that. We won back to back to back to back, 4 years straight, something that could never be done.
Wow.
My most rewarding championship with them was for 3 years. The last final year that I played there, they banned me. They didn't want me to play. They said if my team was going to play in the league, I couldn't pitch with them. So I told my team, okay, no problem. We're going to do this. Because I wanted to show everybody that the game of softball is not a one man. It's everybody. I can't strike out 21 guys. That doesn't happen. You need the other players to win the game with you. So
yes, definitely.
I remember playing with some guys that just started, Mikey Delgado, who's a legend in the softball game. Herman, this guy Herman, Ray Laguerre was my shortstop. We played Joe Horton, he just passed away, may he rest in peace. He was a points team from Coney Island. And, I hadn't played with them. They had asked me for years to play with them, and I never did. And finally, one year, I said, you know what, let me go back to my roots. That's where I came from. And I played with them. I joined them. And I played for them for free. And we won the league in Red Hook back to back to back. But the final year was the greatest because I managed. Imagine this. I gave up Sundays to manage, and I didn't make no money because I didn't pitch. I was managing them. That was my sacrifice. I wanted to do this. I wanted to show them and prove to them that you can win the league. You don't need me. It's 9 guys I need to win the league. And we did. And then they threw us out of the league.
Somebody asked a question about how good was the weatherman.
Oh, Irv G, Mr. Jakowski, Mr. G, is that the guy, Henry?
Yeah, Henry asked that question. Yeah.
Is it Mr. G? Mr. G was a good ball player. He was a good ball player. Mr. Irv Jakowski, he was a good little boy. He was a good ball player, scrappy guy. He came along with us. What happened though later on, and when I joined the team later on, what happened also was that a lot of these guys that were, as you guys know, Mr. G, Jim Bounton, Chris Borton, he was an African-American. They didn't play because the team was a ringer team. And, we wanted to win. I mean, the guy who managed our team, Ugo Mancini, he wanted to win at all costs, and so did Jim. Jim hated to lose. And Jim would pitch a lot of the games. He would start the games, and then I would come in. But then Jim got hurt, and he got older, and he couldn't do it, so I was a starting pitcher for them, And I played off with them, one of the things also was in playing national championships, we hold a record in CBS. We played for 36 hours straight.
Oh, my God.
What happened was we were in a tournament in Huntsville, Alabama. We're in a tournament. We had won our first game. We lost the second game, and then it rained. So now in those tournaments, when it rained, you had to play all types of hours in the night. Well, we got up, we started playing. We continued playing. I never forget, I saw the sun go up, the sun go down, and the sun go back up. And we were still on the ball field playing when the sun went up. Teams came down. Our diet was a diet consisted of hot chocolate, soup, and Gatorade. We never got a chance. That year we finished third in the national tournament. Now, let me remind you guys something. Back in the days, those national tournaments, there were 80 teams in a national tournament. You had to qualify first before you got there. Today, you don't qualify. You just give them the money and you go. They can't even get 20 or 30 teams to go to a national tournament. Back then, you had to qualify in a qualifier, and then you went to a national tournament. 80 teams from all over the United States. Most of the tournaments now are teams from the East Coast, you know, and a little bit maybe in the Northeast. But back then, so we played in this tournament, like I said, we played 36 hours straight without sleep. We were begging to take a shower, man, because we stunk. I mean, you know, we wearing dirty drawers, our shirts are hanging, uniforms dirty, and they wouldn't let us. And we ended up being third in that tournament. But another, you know, a great moment in my career with them, you know.
That was very interesting. Like you know, you said you played all over the place. How did you know, what more did you do to make a name for yourself? Because, you know, they wanted you to play on all these teams. They wanted you. They was willing to do whatever it take. You know, why? Why did they want you, Jerry?
You know, I can't answer that. You know, I can only say that I was blessed with a talent. Most players, most teams, most people knew me. They've always put this question out. If you had to have a pitcher to pitch one game, winner take all, who would you want? And I've been blessed. Most of the time, I say a good 70, 75, maybe they would all say Jerry Anglero. One game. I'm not talking about, you know, there were guys much better than me, you know, Jameson, that guys we want, you know, all the time, you know. But for one game, winner take it all, they would want me in the mound. There was always this thing about me that they said that if you never saw me, Jerry Anglero, pitch with the changeup that I had, and I could still throw hard, and if you'd never seen my changeup, you as a hitter, and maybe Al and Speedy and some of these other guys could talk about it, say, you know, they could probably answer that. I was really hard to beat. I was really hard to beat. You know, if you never seen me before, the first time you're facing me, you're in for a tough day, because, you know, it was hard to hit me. You know, one game winner take all, it was hard to hit me. You know, it would take you maybe 5-6 times to get used to me. And even then, you still be tough, because you never knew when I was throwing my changeup. It came out of the same exact motion as my fastball.
That's dangerous.
Yeah. I mean, I've had guys who filmed me, who watched me, and you couldn't tell. You watch your film, they couldn't tell. You know, you couldn't tell. I mean, I went to Puerto Rico with Jim with CBS, and Jim did an interview with me in Puerto Rico that was televised on Channel 2. Back in the days, he used to have a program at 7 o'clock, way back. It used to be like a local program that they would do different things. And Jim, we had gone to Puerto Rico to play out there, and Jim said to me, I want to do an interview with you. I want you to show us how you pitch. And they were filming me how to do the changeup. And you couldn't, and Jim would be like, I can't tell nothing. There's no difference. We don't see nothing. You know, Another story out of that was when I went to Puerto Rico. I went to Puerto Rico to play one year against we traveled. I went there and I played against this guy who pitched for the Puerto Rican national team. His name was the Concord. He was about 6'5". He was about 6'5". He looked like a Concord. Big no. This guy, he threw windmill. He threw sling. This guy could throw darts harder than Jameson. He threw really hard, you know, and I faced him. I beat him 1-0 in 12 innings. We're in a place called Bayamon, city called Bayamon in Puerto Rico, and the place was packed. There had to be maybe about 5,000 people in the stands watching this game. I beat him 1-0 in 12 innings. He strikes out 16. I strike out 12. After the game, we go out to eat. The president, his name was Tonio Reyes, the president of the sports in Puerto Rico, comes over to me and says, listen, we want you to play with Puerto Rico national team in the 1979. This was in 1979 in the Pan Am Games. We want you to come with us and play. It's like, wow, that's an honor. I'm a modified pitcher. Remember, I'm a modified pitcher. The thing about me was I faced guys, didn't matter to me. Not like today, guys cry. This guy can't. I faced, you know, and I was mentioning about, I faced Zorro, who to me was the greatest pitcher ever in New York. He was a windmill pitcher, and he was, you know, a guy that was banned from windmill, playing windmill. Imagine that. He's a windmill pitcher, and he was banned from windmill. And so it was an honor for me to be asked. The problem was that my son, my oldest son, he was born in 1979. And my wife didn't want to go there to Puerto Rico, so I had to go there for 2 years and train. And my wife didn't want to go there with my son. So I didn't get a chance to play with Puerto Rico. And that's one thing that bothers me and hurts me, because that's you playing with the national team. That's where I'm from, the country, you know. And I really wanted to play with them. And I couldn't do that, you know. But the story about Zorro was I played with him in a windmill league. One year he calls me up, says, we're going to go to Patterson, New Jersey. We're going to play in a windmill league, money league. He says, I look at him, I said, are you crazy? They're going to kill me. They're going to kill me. I throw modified. These guys. He said, Jerry, me the best windmill pitcher, you the best modified. Don't worry, we're going to go there and win. I said, all right, let's go. I go there. He wins. He wins his game, not a sponsor. You know, I'm ready to pitch my game. His game was 2,000. You know, the guy seeing me warming up. The other team says they're going to bet 5,000. My sponsor says, you know, Zorro, you sure this guy's going to be able to hold him? Well, lo and behold, I go out there and I shut the team out because they weren't used to a guy. You know, I was throwing my changeup. Their bats are quick. They were swinging the bat before I even threw the ball out of my hand. Their bat was already going. You know what I'm saying? So those are some of the stories. Like I said, some of the pictures I see, you know, like I said, I mentioned to you Butchie, Zorro, Sundown, Feo, you know, Jameson. There are a lot of good pitchers that were out there, you know.
Is it one hitter you just didn't want to face? Did you ever?
Yeah, there were a couple. There was a guy, there's a couple of guys like that. There was a guy named Vinny Mormili who played in the Dust Bowl. He seemed to have my number. You know, he was good. I mean, there were quite a few guys that, you know, they hit me well. Listen, in this game out, I mean, the greatest softball player that I ever played with was a gentleman by the name of Danny Garcia. He played with the Kansas City Royals. Danny Garcia played with CBS, and the game was, you know, remember, he played Major League Baseball, so the game was very easy for him. And he was a guy that I wouldn't want to face. I never got to face him in practice, but he was a tremendous player. I got the honor of playing with against great softball players. I played against Hector Lopez, who played with the Yankees. I played against Phil Lentz, who played with the Yankees and the Phillies. I played against a guy named Gus Barrios, who played with the San Francisco Giants. They were tremendous softball players back in the days. You know, they traveled. So, you know, there were some guys that had my number too. You know, they would hit me well. I mean, this game is humbling because you're not going to get everybody out all the time. I don't care who you are. You know, sometimes there's some battles you're gonna win and some you're gonna lose. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, there were guys, you know. There were guys that made life hard for me.
Okay. Do you think the body of work that you put in, you got the respect that you deserve from the game?
Absolutely, Alvin. Absolutely. Absolutely. I feel like I earned their respect. I mean, when I see guys like Al, Speedy, you know, all the people here I'm looking at, you know, I think I earned my respect. You know, I earned it. It wasn't given to me. I had to work at it, bro. I worked every day at it. I worked at my craft listen, I was put on a ban list. I was the guy that started one of the pitchers that they started this ban list about you're too good to pitch. To this day, I haven't pitched in 30 years, and I'm still on some ban list.
You can't go and pitch. If somebody call you to come out right now, you still banned.
There are some leagues that I'm banned, yeah. And there are some leagues that'll tell you, yeah, you know, that if I were to put my hat in the ring there, they wouldn't let me pitch. You know, and I'm not half the person I was. I mean, I haven't pitched in 30 years, so I mean,
right.
muscle not the same anymore. But absolutely, Henry, hard work. I was just gonna say that I worked. Hard work definitely pays off. That's one of my things that I tell everybody. If you work, it'll pay off. I worked. I told you, in the winter I worked. I used to throw in the snow. In the winter, I used to go to the gym. I would throw for a half hour and then go play 5 basketball games with jeans on, my brother, and then go throw another half-hour session and then go play another. I worked. So whatever was given to me in this game, I earned it. I earned it. No one gave it to me. I earned everything that I got.
Salute to you, King, for doing what you did for the game.
Thank you.
Do you now? I know you said this to me. I don't know if a lot of people know. You said you're in the Hall of Fame, right?
Brooklyn Hall of Fame in softball. Mm-hmm.
Brooklyn Hall of Fame. How long was that you got inducted into that?
I was the first one. Me and this gentleman by the name of Junior Burgos, and guys who know, he's my partner in umpiring. Junior was a tremendous player. Junior Burgos was another ball player, he was an outfielder, another guy that they used to pick him up. Atlanta used to send a plane to pick him up, teams from Atlanta to pick him up to go play in tournaments. An outfielder, tremendous hitter, would run up and hit anybody. Junior Burgos, and I know Speedy knows. I think Al knows. You know, he umpired with me. Tremendous ball player. You know, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
I know. You know. Let me ask you this, because I know you umpired as well.
Right.
You umpired in Kingston and in St. John's, right?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, tell me what you like when you was umpiring in St. John's Park. Because I'm gonna go to Kingston.
Okay.
Tell me like some of the things that you like about St. John's Park.
The competition was phenomenal. The atmosphere was incredible. It was like you thought you were in a stadium. The ball players, the legends. Again, I got to learn about them. If I didn't cross over because of Dave Goldstein, if I didn't go to that side, I would have never known of a Speedy, of an Al Watson, of a Tep, of a Butchie Nelson, of a Chucky, you know, of a lot of these guys. I wouldn't have known about these guys. But when I went over there to umpire, you know, because what happened was they had an umpiring crew that didn't like it, so they asked me to come into. As a matter of fact, me and Junior Burgos, we went there. We used to do all these games, and these games were crazy. These games were crazy. These games. I mean, you're talking a 7 innings of. You had to be in your top game with these guys. Imagine these guys, you know, these guys are dead. They could run, they could throw, they can hit the shit out of the ball. They were crazy. They wanted to argue. You know. Oh yeah. I mean, you know, some of these games were wild. I mean, especially the another level, more bet those games, another level. You know, I have to tell you guys, you know, that in itself, those guys are legends. That team is, you know, a legend. You know, but I remember, you know, watching Al play against them. You know, these games were crazy. They were nuts. You know, the intensity of the game, but I loved it. I ate that up because as an umpire to this day, I love this game. I'm still competitive. I still want to, you know, I still enjoy watching a good game. That's why I umpire. I mean, people ask me, why are you still in the game? I can retire, but no, I'm not ready for that. I enjoy seeing this. You know, I want to umpire. And then what happens when doing the Gershwin League, you know, and doing the Kingston, then I got into doing the over 40 league, which was again on the other side with those guys. I did it at Troy and Bergen. So I got to see these guys. So I got to know who these guys were, you know, and like I said, I thank Dave Goldstein. Dave, wherever you at, my brother, thank you, because he was the man that brought me to that side. And I learned about those guys.
Did you ever get in any altercations out there umpiring?
You know what? You got to test. You got tested. You know, you got tested in the beginning, especially in Alley. But they respected us because they knew. Well, first of all, I respected them. I always respect the ball player. Okay, I'm going to give you respect because I want respect also. And I would tell them, you curse at me, you're done. You don't have to say sorry. I still say that. That's my word. You're not going to curse him. You're not going to look at me and say F you and think you're going to be in the game. No. And they didn't, you know, sometimes I had to throw a couple of guys out so they learn, because that's the key. You got to show them that, no. You're a man like I am. You put one leg in the pan like I do. We're the same. Okay. And the fact that I played this game, a lot of the guys knew me, so they kind of respect me. But yeah, you know, you got tested. We got tested a couple of times. You know, guys would come out, but they would back off a little bit because they knew once you throw a guy out, they knew who we were, and they knew we knew the game. So we weren't there just to make calls. We knew the game and we hustle. Because that's another thing. I believe as an umpire, You have to hustle. You got to demand that respect. You got to earn the respect of a league and players. You have to. If you don't show the player, it's not about money. The problem today is that umpires go out and all this is about money. That's not the game. I always tell guys, when I walk to a park, I know I'm getting paid. I know I'm getting paid. You know what I'm saying? But, you got to work, man. When you get in the field, you got to work hard and get these guys, they'll respect you because they'll say, hey, damn, Jerry's out there busting his ass. He's rushing. He's making a call, but he's not making it from behind the plate. I'm going from behind the plate. I'm damn near second base making that call, so I'm hustling. The players respect that. They respect you with that. And again, like I said, the fact that they knew that I played the game at the highest level, it's a little different.
And I guess that was my next question. Did they know who you was? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, most, some of them, in the beginning they didn't because I didn't play law ball. That wasn't my game. But a lot of the players that played in the league, they knew me. They knew that I played fast pitches. I played with Dave Golston, so they knew who I was. They may not have known my body of work, but they knew who I was. And then as the years go on, listen, Al, I've always said this. I don't brag about myself. I'm not a cocky guy. I've always been one that I let my playing do the talking. I've always believed this. If you're good, someone else will talk about you. Someone else will say what has to be said. If you deserve it, if you're respected, they will talk for you. They will tell you, the other guy, hey, Al, this guy was good. I don't need to do. There are guys that ask me sometimes, oh, you're an umpire. You never played ball in your life. That's why you're umpiring. And I tell them, you're right. I never played ball. But then, you see that guy over there? Ask him who I am. And, they will say to the guy, oh, yes. And then they'll come back to me out and they'll say, yo, man, I heard you were this. You're a legend. Nah, I wasn't. I'm nobody. I just played the game, a little bit. I didn't play that much, So I've always believed I'm a humble person. I thank God every day that he gave me the talent. He gave me the privilege to play with all these guys. Al, I will tell you this. I said this to you yesterday. Jerry Anglero was only as good as his teammates. Without my teammates, I'm nobody. Okay? I can't strike out 21 guys. I needed guys like Al Watson to make a play for me. Speedy get a hit or Joe. So without me, without them, I'm nobody. And I would always say that to anybody. It's not about me. It's not about how great I was. I was the best. No, I was the best because you guys, my teammates, and I love and I appreciate every single teammate that I played with from the beginning of my career to the end of my career. If it wasn't for them, Al, I'm not even sitting here talking to you. I'm a nobody.
Right, I understand.
Now,
Derek Oliver said you was the only one that ejected him from a game, and he apologized to you after.
Yeah, but and he'll tell you I would tell guys, you don't have to apologize. It's okay. I understand it. It's part of the game. You know what I'm saying? But I would tell guys, you don't have to apologize. You know why? Because when I throw you out, I'm not apologizing for that either because you crossed my line. Once you cross the line, you're done. The game is, that's the way I was taught the game. Respect. I respect you. You're gonna respect me. If I throw you out, it's because you did something to cross my line. So, and you don't have to say I'm sorry. And it's nothing personal because I'm the type of guy out. If I throw you out, I forgot about it 2 seconds later. And after the game, if you want to go have a beer, let's go have a beer. No problem.
He says you threw him out. You threw him out the game. He didn't even do anything. He was talking to somebody else.
he might be right. He probably, you know what it was to it? He might be right. Or I might have heard a curse word or something, and that's it. That's how I was. That's how I demanded the game. You know what I'm saying? That's how I controlled the game. Sorry, Derek.
And then you had Al. He said you was the main reason Gershwin became a slow pitch league. Guys just couldn't hit the fast pitch.
Yeah.
So it flamed out. The slow pitch league came to Bessie Head. Did you ever play in Bessie Head?
I played Moneyball there, bro. I don't want to get the Spanish teams. I used to play under the lights. Yeah, I played a lot of. Listen, I played in just about in every park you can imagine. Any crook, field, corner, wherever. I played on blacktop. I played on concrete. I played on dirt. I played on turf. I played all over, bro. I've traveled all over this. Listen, this game has been good to me. Like I told you, I played all over the United States. I played in Venezuela. I played in Aruba. I played in Dominican Republic. I played in Puerto Rico. I played all over, bro. I was supposed to play in Cuba, which would have been a dream, if it wasn't because of State Department. But I've played this game all over. This game has been tremendous to me. It's made me who I am. As you said when you started, this has made me lifetime relationships and people that I met and known through this game, because of this game, through my umpiring and playing. That's the beauty of this game. You get to meet people that become your lifelong friends, bro. They become your lifelong friends. And a lot of these guys who, I see them, I have nothing but respect for them because, like I said, they made me who I was. And as you said, Al, you couldn't say any better. This is what this game does. It makes friendships for you for life. You become your brothers. I'm hoping that I can make it. I want to go to your reunion.
Once you're there.
No, just to see some of these guys. Just to, a lot of people I probably won't know, but just to see the guys that I do know, just want to be there with them because that's what this game is about, man. I'm sorry that the youth of today doesn't get into sports, man. It's sad.
But it's also, like, I know a lot of guys, we talk about it. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to do the reunion game, because I want to bring us back as brotherhood. For at least that one day, we're hanging out together in the park like everybody used to. Used to have fun. You got grilling over here. Somebody got a cooler. We just walking around just having a game, watching softball. That's all it was. And that's why I wanted to do it. But the youth today didn't have the OGs like you, Derek Oliver, Al Watson, Jerry Madison. They didn't have those legends giving them that tutelage. You kept guys under your wing.
Right.
Now there's no more guidance. You know what I'm saying? Like, I learned from those guys, Tony Cherry. I learned from those guys. I learned from those guys. Yeah. So now when you're talking about guidance, there's no more guidance to get the kids into sports or keep them busy enough.
Right.
So that's where I think we're missing out on.
Absolutely.
As a whole.
Like I said to you, in the beginning, cops played in the PAL. Cops. That's where I started. The guy who taught me how to pitch was a guy by the name of Kenny Gamble. He was a fat white guy who pitched with this team called the Combines in the Luna Park League. And what he did was he took a liking to me. I could throw the ball hard, but I was wild. So one day he comes in and says, "Come over, kid. You need to learn how to throw another pitch besides that fastball, man. A change or a riser." So what he was trying to do, he was trying to teach me his rising. But I got small hands. I got tiny hands. So I couldn't grip a riser to a riser. So I started trying to throw it, and that's what became my changeup. But if it wasn't for him, like you said, to give me the confidence to take me under his wing and say, "Listen, I want to teach you, man, because you got talent." And he did. And it didn't become a riser, but it became a changeup. Another thing that I do, Al, is this game has been so good to me that I try to give back. I teach umpires. I try to guys to umpire. I'll teach them. I teach pitchers. I have a pitching class. I don't charge anybody a nickel, a penny. It's free. Anybody that wants to learn how to pitch, all they got to do is call me. The only thing I always ask them is, listen, I don't charge you a dime. If you tell me you're going to be there, be there. That's all I ask. If I'm giving you my time and my effort, and it's free. I see you hear guys charging this crazy prices to teach pitch.
Yeah.
And they can't even pitch. They can't.
Right.
I'm like, how are you paying these guys $120? And I don't charge you a dime because the game was good to me. So I want to do that. That's what I do. I'll ask every guy, "Hey, Jerry, can you teach me how to do this?" Listen, you're never going to learn my changeup. That was the pitch that I made famous myself. Okay, I can show you how I grip it, but it's not going to come out like Jerry Anglero's changeup because that was my pitch. I developed it. I worked on that. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'll teach umpire. You know how many guys I've taught how to umpire, and I'm umpiring, and let's say there's a mix-up, I'll give them my games. I'll walk off the field, let them do my games. Anybody that works for me, they know they're going to get paid. They're good. I'm going to teach you the right way. I know the game. I know the rules. I sign games. This game has been great. Everybody used to talk about basketball being the street game. People are wrong. Baseball and softball was the street game back in my generation. Basketball became way later on, and then football. But the street game back in the days was baseball because you played baseball, you played softball, you played wiffle ball, you played punch ball, you played slap ball, you played single, double, triple. You play stoop ball. That was all baseball games, bro. You know what I'm saying? That was the street game before basketball was behind the scenes. You know, and I'm talking about, I remember basketball when Will Chamberlain used to play against Bill Russell. When I used to go to Madison Square Garden with my dad and go see 2 games for the price of 1. Okay, that's how far back I go to basketball. You know, when Nate Thurman played with the Golden State Warriors, you know, and Elgin Baylor and West, and, you know, you had Will Chamberlain with the 76ers. I remember going to Madison Square Garden, and you would see game 1, you would see the 76ers play against, you know, against the Boston Celtics. And then game 2, you saw the Knicks play against the Lakers. You know, that's how it was.
I didn't know that was double headers at the Garden.
Oh,
Wow.
hell yeah, buddy. Oh, yeah. With the GO card, man. They used to give you the GO card from school. You used to pay like $1 or $2 to go watch double headers. I used to sit there, 6 o'clock start and 8 o'clock start. That's right. Back in the days, man. Back in the days, bro. That's how it was. People don't understand. Basketball was, you know, basketball, like I said, yeah. Basketball came on later on. I ran basketball. I played 1 year for Kingsborough Community College. I was a point guard. Okay, in 1975, I played 1 year in Kingsborough. You know, I played all sports, but basketball was, you know, wasn't the street game really until recently. Baseball was the street game. You know, that was the game. You know, everybody played it, man. Everybody played that game. You know, now we don't play it as much because it's a slow game, and the kids, you know, the kids are into the video. And basketball and football is the game. I mean, you know, that's the game that's going to get you out of the poverty and make you go there. You know what I'm saying? That's the game. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, he went to the tournament. Yes, at Huntsville. I was talking about that, right? Yeah. Yep. That's the year, Al. That's the year we played 36 hours straight, bro. That was the year we played 36 hours straight. You know, that was the year.
Now, you played in all these fields in Brooklyn. As a pitcher, you have a field that you like. What's the one field you like that you love to pitch in because you knew no matter if you had a bad day or not, you was going to get everybody out?
Yeah. I'll tell you, I started the game in concrete, blacktop. That's where I started my game, my pitching career. And I'm glad I did because it made me a better pitcher because you had to use your legs. You had to really use your body to pitch because, you know, concrete is flat. So you got to push off to use your body. One of the things, I'm a small guy. You know, I'm not a big chisel man or like that. You know, I'm on my playing weight now. I'm 150 pounds. You know, back then I was like, I was light. I was about 135 pounds when I was pitching. You know, but I had a lot of power. My legs, I used my legs. The mound that I really enjoyed pitching out of was in Red Hook. For some reason, the dirt field there, they would always fix it, and there was a mound, and I would really push off that mound. You know, but I learned my pitching skills started with on blacktop, concrete. And I'm glad I did because that makes you got to be a real pitcher because you got to know how to use your legs to pitch. You know, because there's nothing to push off. It's flat. So you got to use those legs to really get the momentum to come off and pitch. And mind you, Al, I'm legit. I was a modified softball pitcher. I didn't throw slingshot. I didn't throw windmill. I don't even know how to do that. But I faced, when I pitched in my era, I faced windmill pitchers and slingshot pitchers all the time. All the time. I never cried. You know, that was the way. I played in the league when I first started in Red Hook. That had nothing. I had Zorro pitching windmill in his prime. I mean, nothing but slingshot and windmill pitchers. And I learned. I played with the shittiest teams because when you first start, you play with the shittiest teams. You know, and I would get my ass kicked. Buddy. I would get my ass kicked. I'm not gonna lie, bro. They would hit me, but that made me want it even more. You know, want it even more. That's right, Ron. GO cards and the transit passes. That's right. I used to give them out to the kids. We used to get a transit pass. When I used to take the kids to go to play basketball, they used to give you a green card and a slip to fill out. And that way you would take the kids on a train or, you know, and they would go for free. Mm-hmm. And that's how we used to travel. When I was at Our Lady of Solace, we were poor, man. So I used to use that with my basketball teams. Those transit passes, man. And the GO cards, as we were talking about, we used to get them in school. And you used to go to the game for $2. But you see a double header. You got to see the best. The best of the best, bro. Yeah.
Did you was motivated by something? For you to be determined to be great like you are, what was your motivation?
The will to compete, the will to win. I always wanted to be somebody. I always wanted to excel in sports. You know, when I couldn't make it in baseball, Major League Baseball, and mind you, back when I played baseball, there was only 16 Major League Baseball teams. It was much harder to play baseball. If I was playing baseball today, I'd be a multimillionaire. You know what I'm saying? I'd be a multimillionaire because today the game is watered down. It's 28 teams in Major League Baseball. That's why these pitchers can't pitch 4 or 5 innings. And I had this conversation with you. What would you pay Willie Mays? What would you pay Roberto Clemente today? What would you pay Sandy Koufax, Juan Marichal, Bob Gibson? What would you pay those guys today? You would have to give them ownership of the team. If you're paying Francisco Lindor $341 million and you're playing Fernando Tatis these guys haven't won nothing. They haven't done anything. And you're paying them this kind of money? What would you pay for Willie Mays? Probably the greatest baseball player ever. What would he be worth in today's market?
That's a very good question.
Okay. I mean, how do you pay these guys that kind of, and it can't even last. The pitchers back then, Bob Gibson. I remember Bob Gibson. First of all, you didn't mess with Bob Gibson because if he would throw a pitch at your head and then go beat the shit out of you afterward if you charged him out. You know what I'm saying? He beat you down. The other thing was that Bob Gibson, I remember in the World Series, the Cardinals, he would pitch game 1, game 4, game 6, and game 7. Okay? That's what he would do. Okay, that's how the major league pitchers used to pitch back then. They used to pitch 300, 325, 340 innings a year. There was no such thing as relief. I remember Juan Marichal pitching. He pitched 18 innings against the Mets. 18 innings starting pitching. What would you pay these guys? What would you pay Sandy Koufax? What would you pay Frank Robinson? There's no money to give these guys. If you're telling me you're paying Francisco Lindor $341 million. What has he done for you? What has he show me his stats for the life? What has he done? Tatis, that kid just came on board. 3 years playing Major League Baseball. You'll give him $330 million. All I can say is this game has changed. I know it's changed, different eras, but like I always say, what would you give these guys money-wise? You would have to give them the team. You have to give them ownership. I'm sorry. There's no other, and that's the sad part. But the thing for me was I always wanted to be somebody in the sport. I guess I wanted to play professional baseball. When I couldn't do that and I went to softball, I always was a perfectionist. I always wanted to be the best at what I could be in. So the will to win, the will to be the best, the drive, the work ethic I had, I worked for my shit. Nobody gave me nothing. I worked. Poor kid from Coney Island, didn't have nothing. But I worked every day at it. I wanted to play baseball. I started playing baseball when I was 3. And I worked every day at my craft, every day. However I had to get to the park, I got to the park. If nobody picked me up, I took my bike and a bike that I made up, and I did the bike. And that's what I did. I drove the bike to the parade grounds and all the way back to Coney Island, bro. Didn't give a shit. That's how I did. With a wool uniform, wearing those wool-ass uniforms that were 100 degrees, man, when you put them things, those uniforms on. And that's what I did, man, Al. Like I said, blessed. I'm blessed, bro. Every day, I'm blessed. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. All the time. My only regret would be that, I didn't get a chance to play Major League Baseball because that's every kid's dream coming up, especially a Latino. Us Latinos, we Puerto Rico. Being from Puerto Rico, that was our game. That's our game. That's our pastime. That's something that I really wanted to do for my mom. My mom was my biggest cheerleader. My mother now is in her deathbed. She has dementia. She doesn't have much time left on this earth, but that was my biggest cheerleader. That woman followed me all over the place, bro, all over the place. So I wanted to make her proud, and I think I've done that. You know what I'm saying? She always cheered me on. She was always there for me. So my regrets is that I didn't play Major League Baseball. That's the regret, that I didn't get a chance to play Major League Baseball, that I didn't get a chance to give her that dream that she wanted, and my father, because my father played, he got looked at by the Dodgers too, but he got cut because he was too small. And that's it, man, and then a lot of regrets, man. I got to do a lot of things. Listen, I got to travel with this game. I got to make money with this game. I got to meet I met you through this game. Right. Met you through this game. I met Al. I met guys. I met Henry and Derek and whoever. Like I said, anybody who's my teammate, anybody who sees me, man, I love all these guys. I love you all because if it wasn't for you guys, I'm nobody. I'm nobody, bro.
prayers to you and your moms. We're here with you. We support you.
Thank you.
Whatever we need. So, definitely prayers for that. I've been in that situation before, so I totally understand.
I appreciate that, bro.
My other thing is, give me a memorable moment.
Derek, you're hitting the spot now, bro. The emotional, you're tugging at the emotional string. So,
sorry.
No, yeah, this is a tough one. I've never told this story to nobody, and it hits home because it hits home. I growing up playing baseball and softball. My father was always a person that he worked hard and he never wanted to come see me play. He always felt when he did, he always felt that I wouldn't play as good because I'd be nervous because he'd be there watching me. So my father really never got to see my career as far as playing. And when I won the championship at Gil Hodges, that I hit the home run, he was umpiring across the way from me. My mother was the one who was there watching me. She cheered, My most memorable moment was a day when I was playing with CBS and I was in Central Park. And he became a coach, the first base coach for CBS. Of course, through me. They did things. Listen, they used to, when I played with CBS, they didn't pay nobody. They took care of me financially. And they also, when we traveled a lot, they would always take care of me, my mother, my son, my daughter, and my wife. What I mean by that, they paid for our airfare, they paid for hotel, they rented cars for us. No one on the team got that. No one, not even Zorro, who was better than me. Not even Zorro. I got it all. But there was a game that I was in Central Park, a summer day, and I'm pitching. And I'm throwing one of the best games I ever pitched. The end of the story, to make it short, I ended up throwing a perfect game in Central Park against a team called Power Drive, who at that time was one of the top teams in New York and in Central Park. Now, to throw a perfect game in Central Park, guys who have played there, it wasn't back like it is now. You didn't have 4 outfielders. You didn't have 5 infielders. You played 9 guys. That's it. 9 guys. First baseman, second baseman, shortstop, third baseman, catch, left fielder, center fielder, right fielder, pitcher. That's it. The guys who have played in Central Park know that outfield is humongous. The infield is humongous. But I threw a perfect game. And of course, after that, everybody's coming over me, cheering me. Hey, Jerry. I actually got an award that year because to throw a perfect game in any sport, it's almost impossible. You got to be perfect. Forget about perfect. It's luck. You got to be lucky because there are some plays. No, you do, because there are plays that have to be made. I made one in the 6th inning. I made a play that the ball was in a slow roll to the third base side. I picked it up bare hand. I jumped up in the air and threw the first, and I just got him. My shortstop made a couple of good plays also to help me out. But anyway, so I'm my back is turned, and all of a sudden, I feel somebody, like I said, walking over, touch my shoulder, and I turn around. It's my father, and he's in tears, and he says to me, "I never knew how good you were. I heard about you, I read about you, I seen you on TV, but to see you to do this, I'm so proud of you." What better than that, Al, from your father? What better than that? I get emotional thinking about it because it was the first time that he really recognized who I was in the game. He heard stories, but he was always busy. And until he got with me on CBS and I pitched that perfect game, he couldn't believe it. He was like, "Wow, I really never knew how good you were." That's the game that sticks out, will always stick out for me. To make my father proud, for him to be on that field and see me do what I did, doesn't get any better than that, my brother.
That's right.
Doesn't get any better with that.
When did you know that you were really good?
Like I said, Albert, I've always tried to be. I've always been humble. So I guess when people talk about me, but like I said, I knew I had the talent. I knew I worked at my craft. I knew I did. I worked hard, and of course, the results are going to happen. The results are going to happen. When you work hard at anything in life, results are going to happen. Good things are going to happen to you, but you got to work. You got to work at it. It's not just given to you, because there's a million guys that are out there playing the game, They were just average guys. And there's a few that go above and beyond in any sport. Basketball. Listen, LeBron James is who he is. Why? Because he worked at it. Michael Jordan was Michael Jordan. Why? Because he worked at it. Kevin, whatever sport, Patrick Mahone is Patrick Mahone because he worked at it. You got to work at what you do. You got to be humble. You got to be respectful. And with that, the good comes out. You'll be good. You get good. When I started playing, traveling, and teams paying me, I knew I was something special because you got to be special to get paid. Ain't nobody going to give you money, if you're not special. So I knew I was special, when, I was getting paid. You know what I'm saying? When I was getting paid, that's when I knew that, oh, hey, Jay, you're good. You're getting paid. People want you. People were all over the place getting me. People, I had fan clubs. People were just, like I said, I never drove a car. People were driving me around, anything I wanted. Now, the sad part to that is also, because there is a sad part to this game. When you stop playing the game and you can't do what you did before, you get forgotten. People forget about you. And then it's when you find out who your true friends really are. Because as long as I was making money for everybody loved Jerry. Oh, yeah, Jerry, hey, he'll do anything for me. But when the game, you stop. And I retired early. I retired when I was 35 years old. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't an old man. I was 35 years old. But, you learn who your friends are in life. You learn.
You said you retired early. Why did you retire so early?
A couple of things. One was this ban list. I was getting banned from leagues. They didn't let me play in leagues. I got a little bored of the game. I've won everything that there is to win. I've won every championship, every league that I've been to. I've won. I've been blessed. Knock on wood. So, and every year it got a little harder because, every year they're going to get you. You know what I'm saying? They're out to get you. They want to beat you, And, I got hurt also. I had major surgery on my neck. I had 5 discs taken out of my neck. I had a bone fusion. I got a metal plate with 22 screws. So that's, that slowed me down. And that surgery was a tough one. And then I didn't want to put the work in. And I said, no, that's it. I'm not. My father always said this to me, Alvin. When you leave the game, leave it at the top of the game. Retire on your own terms and leave it at the top of the game. You know why? He would tell me, because then no one can say anything bad about you. You left on your own terms at your top of the game. Too many of us continue to play. Zorro was one of them, and I love him to death. But he continued to play. And when you get, I hit Zorro. You hit who? Man is 75 years old. What are you talking about?
Right. Yeah.
75 years old, my brother. You didn't hit him. So my father always said, and I've always stuck my head, and when you leave, he always told me, don't come back. Don't come back. He says, because this way no one can say nothing bad. They're always going to remember who you were at the top of your game. So that's why, I left. Between the ban and that thing, Red Hook, that left the bad taste where I couldn't play. They were banning me from this league, banning me from that league. I was getting very limited to where I could play. And I got hurt, and then I lost the drive. The drive wasn't there anymore. And I've always said that, when the drive's not there, I stop. Same thing with umpiring. When I don't want to umpire, when I feel like I'm cheating guys and I'm going out there just for the $50, $60, I'm done. I do this because I love the game. You know what I'm saying? So that's
good. You left on your own terms. Of course, injuries will slow you down, but you left on your own terms. So that's key in that. I ain't going to keep you too much longer. Is it anything we didn't cover that you want? Well, you know what? We do have to cover something. You umpiring.
right.
When did you transition into being an umpire? After you retired?
I was doing it already, starting it when I was still playing, but I went full time into it. I got into the high school. I do high school baseball. I did college baseball. Then I went to the softball. I did softball. I did all that. I've been around doing this. I'm umpiring now 30 years. I've done every rec league. I've done tournaments. I travel. I go to Florida. I mean, I still go to Florida in November, December, January, February. I'm in Florida. I'm still out there doing it. And I love the game, and it's a passion. The umpiring has kept me close to all these guys. I get to see them every once in a blue moon. I love it. I referee basketball also. I do basketball. I do soccer. So I still do multiple sports. That's what keeps me shaped. That's what keeps me going. That's what keeps my heart going. I just love the sports. I love the game, and it's made great relationships with me. I mean, I go upstate. I was last week, I was in a tournament in Toms River. This weekend I have a tournament in Howell, New York, New Jersey. Then I got one up in, Newburgh. So I did I don't do the college anymore because, I've gotten a little older. And it's a lot more traveling, and I don't want to do that no more. You know what I'm saying? But and the rec ball, I don't really do a lot more. I don't do a lot of rec ball anymore either. I do constantly I do a lot of girls softball. A lot of that girls softball tournament stuff. It's a lot easier to do because you don't hear the crying and the bitching. You know what I'm saying? Sorry guys. It pays more and it's a better game because you don't hear it. You don't hear the nonsense. The girls, they're out there to play the game. The coaches don't let them argue. You know what I'm saying? Listen. As in anything, when you're an umpire, Major League Baseball. Today was a perfect example. The Met game. If everybody watched that Met game, that umpire blew that call. The guy puts his elbow over the plate. The umpire's ready to punch him out. Then he gives him first base. That's a wrong call. But like I said to the players, an umpire is going to make mistakes. I'm human. I'm not going to tell you I'm perfect. I'm perfect because you're not perfect. I'm going to make mistakes. But that's part of the game. The same way, should I yell at you when you make an error and say, hey, Alvin, what's the matter? You suck, man. You can't catch a ball. You missed that pop fly. You struck out. So guys got to understand, when an umpire is out there, most of us, we're not trying to make mistakes. We're trying to get the call right. But we are human. We're going to miss a call. And I taught that along the line. I tell guys all the time, I don't have a problem admitting when I miss a call. Guys who have had me umpire, they'll tell you. I might have called them out on a strike, or I might have made a bad call, and I'll tell them. After the game, I might say, hey, Derek, I'm sorry, but I missed that call. It happens. It's not on purpose. It happens. I've umpired baseball. I'm gonna name drop some baseball players that I've done. I've umpired Dylan Betances' games when he played for youth service. In high school, I did his games. I did Pedro Alvarez, who played for the University of Vanderbilt, and then he got drafted in the first round, #1 by the Boston Red Sox, and ended up playing with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Okay, I did Alex Arias, who played with the Milwaukee Brewers. I did his games. Okay, I did John Franco's son, who was in the Met minor leagues, JJ Franco. I did his games. I even did, how about this? I did Rudy Giuliani's son, Andrew Giuliani, when he played baseball. I did his games. I did Adam Ottavino's games, who played with the Yankees last year. I did his games because he played with Berkeley Carroll in high school. I umpired his games. I did a couple of Manny Ramirez games. Okay, when he was a kid in high school. I did Danny Almonte, the kid who got busted in the Little League World Series. Yeah. I did his games. So even look at how the umpire. Look at the names that I've done in umpiring. I've had the privilege and the honor to do those guys. I mean, I've done Dylan, who's a major, right? Who's a big guy for the Yankees. Ottavino, Pedro Alvarez, Alex Arias, Manny, So besides playing with I umpired. So I've seen it all, man. So it's been great for me. The umpiring has been something that I love, man. I said, I'll do the game. I'd rather do a good baseball game any day of the week, man. Any day of the week. I'll umpire for anything. I love it. I love it, bro. I love it. You know what I'm saying? So I've seen, I'll give you another two guys. I did Bobby Reedy's games. Okay? Bobby Reedy, when he played with Thomas Jefferson High School, and James Harris, who was a left-handed pitcher who played for Thomas Jefferson High School. The year that Bobby Reedy got drafted #1 by the Pittsburgh Pirates, that was the last year that Roberto Clemente played with them, that he died in that plane crash. Bobby Reedy got drafted #1 by the Pittsburgh Pirates. I umpired his games. I did Sean Dunson's games. Played the Chicago Cubs. So, you know what I'm saying? I've been blessed, Al. I've been blessed.
That's right. That's right.
Blessed. I mean, look at all these names. I mean, these are guys who played in the major leagues For years, that's right, Derek. They played for youth service. There, Sean, Bobby. I mean, Bobby. People don't. I don't know if people know about Bobby Reedy. Bobby Reedy was.
A lot of these guys know who Bobby Reedy is.
I know they know because he played softball. But Bobby Reedy was a phenomenal baseball player. He was thrown mid-90s in high school, and then Bobby was a pitcher, catcher, shortstop. Okay, he used to catch James Harris when Harris used to pitch, because Harris was a left-hander who threw 90 plus also and played first base. So, I've had it all, bro. I've seen it all, man. I also got lucky to umpire. I'll tell you another quick story. Now it's coming. I umpired a game in softball. I umpired in Yankee Stadium. I did a game where who was playing? I got to umpire. Bernie Williams was there. There was other, it was a charity event where I had Brian Leach, who played hockey. The cake boss was playing, and Steve Sharippa was there. I got to meet all these people, through sports, through umpiring, through playing softball. I got to meet a lot of celebrities and people. Listen, I used to walk into clubs. I was a celebrity. I went and met when Dwight Gooden won Rookie of the Year with the New York Mets. That first year, he wrote a book. He had a book signing at this club called La Visage, which was with Mermaid. You guys don't even remember this club. I mean, this is Dwight's first year. He's 17 years old. He wrote a book. I have that book signed by Dwight Gooden. Unfortunately, if he didn't take the wrong road, that book would be worth millions. Rookie of the Year, and with that book, I got blessed to see a lot of people, in my life through this, and it's incredible, man. Like I said, and again, I owe it all to anybody who I've met through this road of playing softball, umpiring. Alvin, you a guy I met. You're another guy. You're another friend now for life. Like I tell you, your family to me. If you ever need me for anything, but all these guys, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you. It's simple as I can't put it any simpler than that. I thank you all. I thank anybody who's had a part of my career. I thank them, man.
Is there anything we didn't cover that you want to cover before I let you go?
I think we did it all out. I think I spoke too much today. I think I spoke too much, but
you did not.
It's been an honor, a privilege. Thank you for having me on. Thank you for the questions, guys. Thank you for the love. The love is mutual. I love you guys, and hopefully I'll keep on seeing you on those ball fields. I want to go. I'm hoping to make that reunion. First and foremost, that God lets me get there. Healthy, and that we all, and I want to keep this going. And this is what you guys do is a beautiful thing. This is beautiful. This is what we need to do. We need to let people know what the game was about and what we did. You know what I'm saying? This is great. This is what it's all about. And to everybody, stay safe, stay blessed. We're still fighting this pandemic, and hopefully one day we'll be able to do the things that we got to do, man. We could all get together and have fun again.
Definitely want you to come out to that July. Maybe I can get you to throw a pitch or two out there.
I'll definitely. No, listen, I can still throw the ball. Definitely, I would definitely do that. I can still throw the ball. That would be great.
Yeah, maybe we could definitely get you just to come out and.
I would love to do that. Listen, man, you give me Al Watson to play shortstop for me behind me, I'll be all right then. I don't have to worry.
Okay, we can make that happen. We can make that happen.
Yeah. But like I said, a lot of these names that I mentioned, like the Leon, everybody, Dave, and all these. Listen, to everybody that's gone from this earth now, may they rest in peace. They've been a part of my life. I thank them. Like I said, without them, I'm nobody. I'm nobody, man. I just be a regular guy out there like everybody else. But thank God. Well,
I just want to say thank you, man. You definitely gave me a life lesson on learning who you are on the field and on the field. And I'm glad I got an opportunity to interview you on my show because it was knowledgeable. It's something that I needed. I love history. Shout out to Jerry, Crime, for making me, give me that number to make that contact. I appreciate you. But more importantly, Jerry, listen, the history that you told tonight, the stories that you told tonight is needed to be told. And I'm thankful that I was able to hear those stories, and I look forward to meeting you on July 10th at the event. You know, that's what it's about, brotherhood, and we continue to do this. And like I said before, my platform is your platform. You know,
Thank you.
whatever you need, whatever you want to do, you know, I'm here for you. Again, my prayers are with you and your mom. You know, please keep us posted on how she's doing. And like I said, thank you. Thank you to a legend. Thank you to a Hall of Famer. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much, my brother. I appreciate you, man. And the same here. If you ever need me for anything, just call, man. I'm here. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Jerry. Appreciate you, man.
Have a good. God bless.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in tonight. That was a great interview. That was a great interview. That a great history lesson. That was fun, knowledgeable, everything that I want in an interview when it comes to this game of softball, the history. You know, you can't beat that. You know, that's something that I love about our game, history. And once again, connection through other brothers. That's how I was able to interview Jerry. You know, that's what it's about. That's what it's about. Us staying together, us working together as one, as brothers, not as individuals. I'm nowhere without you guys. This show don't go without you guys who's setting up these interviews, who's asking me to interview these guys. You know, I'm always going to try to bring you something good, especially whether it's softball, whether it's basketball, whether somebody that's independent, you know, no matter what it is, I'm going to always try to bring A60 and bring you guys something worth watching and hearing in the content. And I'm still learning as I'm going with these interviews, and I'm trying to get better every time. So, you know, continue to work with me, you know, but I'm here. So thank you, Jerry. I appreciate you. Thank you to everybody that listened, everybody that chimed in for the questions, the history. Man, Jerry, I don't know if you could have let me get away with a bag of bricks like that. I probably would have got that sold on the block. I don't know, but I'd have got that work off, you know. But all in all, you know, I'd have figured out a way. But that's crazy. That's what was going on back in them days. But I'm not surprised either. So, but man, thank you for that history lesson. To all my brothers, July 10th, you know we in the building, Kingston Park, A60 reunion. It's going down. Jersey party that Friday is going down. So thank you to everybody. Continue to be safe. Continue to stay healthy. And I'll see everybody next week. Peace and love. A60. I'm out.